a star platinum while you're sleeping.
All right, yo, everyone. So we're live officially now.
Ah!
So this is
people who are
JoJo's
live.
podcast.
Welcome to the JoJo's podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I am here with
MrX reacts.
I am MastaCell,
Mackenzie critiques.
Kenshin, and MrX.
Here today to discuss episode 8 to 13 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 5. Considering that there is a recap episode this week, it was the perfect time to get it started, the perfect time to have some fun, the perfect time to talk JoJo Part 5.
Indeed.
Yeah. A bunch of fights to catch up on as well. A whole bunch of fights to talk about.
Yeah, too many.
Yeah.
Now, before we start, considering you just brought up the fights, do you think that, just as a broad topic, obviously we'll go in more depth in a minute, but just as a broad, in a broad, rough way, do you think that these fights so far have been the best of the series, or do you think they've been lacking?
In my opinion, they definitely have not been lacking. Like,
Yeah.
Especially that fight with oh man, I'm bad with names, yo. Naranka.
Narancha, yeah. That fight was really good. Yeah.
That fight had me about to trip for real.
Yeah.
I me trip out of my seat.
That was a really hype fight as well. I mean, the thing is, like, I think every single fight's been like stronger than anything in the previous parts. Like, it's rare to find a fight that was weak. Whereas in Stardust, do you remember, like, some weeks it was some boring, some weeks were good, some weeks were hype. But I'm in agreement, man. Narancha's fight was definitely the standout to me. But I think even going back to the earlier ones, the Kraftwerk fight with Mr., like the end to that fight, I thought like what was going on in that fight on top of the truck was insane, man. Like that kind of got me. I don't know about you, Master, what you felt about it, because I know I haven't heard your thoughts on that one. But what do you think?
I've been kind of MIA for a couple of podcasts. But Mr.
Yeah.
That gun work, that's just undeniable right there.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for that truck driver.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Honestly, that was just what he get for in the beginning. But when German went back in that car, said, "You don't drive this car away from my friends," like imagine that conversation on the way back.
Yeah, and it was the people making a joke, right? That it was ironic that Dio was having that dude drive him around at the end of Stardust Crusaders, and now
I forgot about that.
Yeah, like when he was punching that dude to drive him around all around that town that night, and they were having him drive everyone around. The truck driver became the new taxi driver, right? So that was kind of hilarious. I think the power that Kraftwerk had, where he was stopping things where they were, like just fixing them in their place, like he was fixing rocks, rubble, and he was just climbing on the rubble, or stopping bullets from going into his head. I thought visually that was like a really good power. Like, it's just interesting to see visually some of these powers. What do you think of that, MrX?
Well, personally, I think that was the most imaginative way you could have probably used that. When I saw him just like floating there, I was like, okay, you know what? He's good. Straight up, just that power is good. It was just a fun clash, I want to say, but it just shows you that, you know, with stands, they evolve as time goes on. You know, if you look at the powers that we had in, say, Part 3, I wouldn't say they were boring, but they were fairly basic. It was like, okay, this is the stand, this is what they can do. All right. Yeah. Now it's like, okay, this is the stand. Here's a taste of what they can do, but in reality, they can do 10 more things. So let's just have some fun.
But that's really like my take on it is a lot of stand powers in here are fairly simple. It just depends like how broad is your quote unquote imagination when you use these stands. It's like on the surface value, even with Dio back in Stardust Crusaders, he could stop time. Okay, you can stop time. Yeah. Then all the things he did while stopping time and how he used stop time to whoop everybody's ass. Even like with Narancha, he just got a little bomber. Okay, he goes around shooting things. Okay. Oh, body heat. Wait. Oh wait, fire. I mean, oh wait, air. Oh.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, imagine Dio stand today. if they made Dio stand in part 5, it wouldn't just be stopping time; it'd be 100 different things.
It would be, yeah. I mean, the thing is, the more simple the stand power, the more creative they're able to be with it. I feel like when something's like a Bakio's power, it's a very, very specific power, right? The way it works, right? And it's got a lot of moving parts to it, which we saw in the latest episode. But when it's simple, like Little Bomber, or it's simple like Mister's power, those fights tend to be more. You can be more creative with it because you know where the restrictions are, where the limitations are. Like for Jono's power, we don't know what the restrictions, the limitations are because he was making anti. Yeah, we'll get to that later. But yeah, the anti-venom stuff and like how is he doing that? But I think the people with simple powers, it's been great. I think, like Master said, man, Narancha's fight was insane. Like you at the edge of your seat, man, shrinking and you know the playing with size and all that stuff.
The thing is, like, excuse me if y'all went over this in past podcasts, but I'm not even completely sure what Giorno's power is. I think he can turn things into living things, and he can turn a brick into a snake. And
yeah, I had that problem very early on, not knowing what his power was. I still have that problem now, especially after the last few episodes. But yeah, no idea.
people use words like his powers OP or his powers are broken. I don't even think that they necessarily make sense, but they are broken. I know that much. Like he can literally do whatever at this stage. Like there is no rule to his power. I think this is one of the issues people used to have with JoJo back in part 2, right? Where Joseph was like pulling solutions out of thin air, right? But now you've got a stand that just pulls things out of nowhere. I'm not criticizing it. It's enjoyable to watch. Who wouldn't like to see a fucking brick turn into a snake, right? But but still, you know what I mean? Like I still don't understand. I'm with Master, man. Yeah,
the thing is, like I understand the simplicity of some of this stuff, but you have to study your stand at the most. Because like even last episode when Giorno got himself affected by the poison, just to affect the mirror dude, for him to get out there and get fucked up, just for him to come back around and be like, hey, I turned this brick into a snake. Yeah. Now he's gonna suck out this poison.
Yeah.
No way the fuck he came up with that on the fly.
Yeah, agreed, man. He literally only just heard about how things Fugo's power worked as well. The virus and there was something they said where he doesn't pull out his stand much. It's very rarely does Fugo's stand come out. And Abakio was able to tell him every single minute detail about his stand. Journo just came in contact, and he's able to just circumvent any of the damage, right, of Fugo's stand.
200 IQ points.
Yeah, exactly. I think, I mean, I know we're getting ahead of ourselves, but I feel as though Journo's going to have a much bigger tease for his powers across the show. Overall, I think he might even have more fights overall once the show's done than the individual characters like Team Bruno and everything. It's funny Bruno's only had one fight right at the beginning with his Zipper Man, they called it, right? But we haven't seen anything from him since. But we've seen a lot of the rest of his team. But I'll be interested to see how they work together because the latest episode they were all working together in a way. So.
I don't even know. I was going to say, do you think the mirror stand was overpowered? But I think that might be towards the end, considering that was the latest episode. So do you just want to start talking about the first episode, episode 8?
Yeah. Master, yeah, your thoughts on episode 8, because we haven't heard from you on these.
I'm sorry, I was mid-text. What happened?
Yeah, your thoughts on the whole Mr. fight, like the way it got resolved, because people didn't hear your thoughts about what you felt about that fight compared to the ones that came after.
Well, the whole thing with the Mr. fight. See, they're just going back and forth and trying to cap this dude in the head. He just, I know he's like have a grasp on his enemy's power, but that was just. It's one of those things where like I hate to be like I'm rooting for the enemy in this situation, even though Joe keeps trying to screw us all.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things like the way they come up with the ways to get out of this stuff with their stands.
Yeah.
With all due respect to the guy Mister was facing, I forgot his name, sorry. He was putting in a lot more work in that fight.
Yeah.
Dodging shit. He basically just keep shooting. This guy had to dodge bullets and block bullets this whole time.
Yeah.
You gotta be kidding me. That was me on top of that, man.
Yeah. It's interesting because like this season more than anyone, like these stands have a mind of their own almost. Like his bullets actually are kind of autonomous. Like they have a personality of their own. Like, and even Fugo's stand is more angry, right? It's full of rage and it's kind of unpredictable and shit like that. So
the stand's a lot more livelier now.
Yeah.
Like, remember, Koshi is still in the anime. He's just chilling right now. Can't blame him. But
yeah.
Even he, like, his stand is talking to him and all that stuff. Like, these stands are talking now. I'm sitting here like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we thought his stand was special now. It's like,
yeah.
Cool.
I mean,
another one.
Yeah, I mean, this season they're really pushing the whole your stand is a representation of yourself and your experiences and stuff. But that never really applied to the previous seasons. Like Avdor's got a pterodactyl that breathes fire, right? I'm not sure why he has that. Star Platinum is a strong kind of thing. Kakuin's got emerald thing. Like this season, it only just came up that these represent. Yeah. So it's weird, like this season, like how they've evolved and whether there's some reason behind them evolving as time goes on, and whether these arrows are like producing even more evolved stands. So I'll be interested to see where it goes, man. Like in the future.
Good question. Like there was a rule about stands that they mentioned last episode when that mirror dude was pulling people's stands in and pulling them out back and forth like that. What was that rule? I know that was a vague as hell question, but.
The rule to stands. Yeah. He pulls in living things, right? And when he pulls in living things, he was separated from. Is that what you mean? Like he didn't pull his stand into the mirror world. He only pulled that living thing, like which is Fugo, by himself in. Is that what you mean?
I mean, something like that. It's just like,
yeah,
you know, if something happens to your stand, it happens to you.
Like, yeah.
But he wasn't able to pull the stand in with the person unless he pulled the person in before the stand. Like if you brought your stand out first, your stand's not coming with you.
Yeah. And that way, nothing that was happening inside would affect the outside or the vice versa. But I think, like you were saying, MrX just now, that do you think he was OP, like the mirror man in the mirror? I think there was a point in that freaking episode where he didn't understand how his own mirror world worked. You know what I mean? He was saying, why are the crows dying around? Like, why are the crows dying in my mirror world? Like, I was thinking, haven't you done this before? Like you know. But I feel that his stand power was powerful, but he was just an inexperienced stand user, I'd say. Like even Journo doesn't fully understand his powers. He's still really early for him. Like they said, it's only been a couple of years.
That gotta be a trip. And you think like, so even like Jotaro, he only got his stand ability recently, and he basically locked himself up for it. But basically, he only got his stand ability right beforehand. But you got people like Paranoia who grew up with a stand.
Yeah.
Like if I stand 5 minutes ago, I'd be like, "Oh, this is nice. You about to go fight stand? This hell no."
I would.
Yeah.
No, what is my ass for?
Yeah.
I mean, figure out what the power is. Like, imagine when the poison stand, Fugo stand. The second he figured that out, how he survived that?
Yeah,
showed up.
Like Journo carrying the virus into the it was in his hand, wasn't it? He turned the virus into, like, someone can like remind me, but he masks that virus. Like his hand sort of turned into the virus. So it's like he masquerade, like he turned that living virus into something to hide it as he brought it in. And you know, I don't even know, man. Like that's the thing. I need answers to like Journo's power, how it works. Like I still don't get how he does this.
I think at this point of one of the series, you gotta read the manga afterwards.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I think at this point, it's just he can do anything. Like, anything that the plot demands that makes sort of sense, he can do that.
Yeah.
Anything that the plot demands, he can do it. That's the main key of the crowd right there.
Yeah. And it's weird that these characters like have anger issues. Like Fugo is the most of it. Like he's got a lot of rage because of their backstories. All of these guys have got this weird abusive childhood, Charles Dickens type backstory, right? Where like it shows in their stand powers. So Naranja's got rage problems. Fugo's got rage problems. You know, and Mister's a very angry character, right? But even though he had probably one of the more chilled out backgrounds when you think about it, when you saw his flashbacks compared to the other guys.
Oh, by the way, excuse me, the guy with the purple lips, what's his name?
Abakio, the one with the police. The police guy.
He must spend the whole series with his foot up, JoJo's ass.
Yeah. I can appreciate that because like he's still got his detective's nose right on him, even though he's a criminal now. But like, there's always going to be Do you guys think that Journo's got like a secret plan? Like he's like he's got a secret agenda and stuff. We were talking about this, but I don't think people got to hear your view on that, Master. Do you think Journo's got his own like side plan going on, side thing?
I mean, the thing is, despite this being the dream team, he's only doing this so he can get to the boss of the organization to kill him.
Yeah. Do you have any predictions about what that relationship might be to the boss? Like more than
that. So I'm not even gonna try. Like,
yeah. All we know is that he looked up to this gangster dude, and I'm not sure we know what happened to that gangster dude who kind of raised him, but I'm sure it's to do with like something like that or revenge. We thought it was like you know, a typical gangster kind of flick. But what about you, Mr. X? Like, what do you think is the case?
Well, I don't think there's anything there, but the one thing that these last 2 episodes really made clear is that I think they all have a lot of loyalty to Bruno, all of them. So I don't think there's going to be like anyone just like being like, okay, you're going to attack the boss. Let me just tell the boss. Let me just warn him or anything like that. So I don't think that's going to happen because I feel like they're all very, very loyal. So they are a squad. I'll say that. They're a squad. And I think besides maybe the boss being the one person that we saw at the beginning, like episode 1, the one gangster that we saw who just kind of disappeared, I don't think we have seen the boss yet. Although that one line that we had in like episode, I think 3 it was, where like they said that all the people they hired as normal folks, they all hide out there on the streets as the normal people.
Yeah,
we could have probably just like walked past him, but I think you would have noticed by just by the character design. I'm not sure about it. I don't think the boss will look just like an average person, obviously.
Yeah,
this is JoJo.
Yeah,
there was Kira. Like we couldn't tell himself.
But I mean, if you look at Kira and you look at anyone else from this show, he still looks distinctly unique.
Yeah, he does. I mean, they're so excited. Honestly, I don't know who it was that made that joke in the early part. I think it was Blaze who said that they really stick out. Like even the way they're dressed and the way they stick out in the streets, Team Bruno, they really stand out. So if the villains are all about anonymity, then yeah, I think I agree with you that he wouldn't want to stick out on the crowd. So he won't be really crazy, flamboyant. He'll want to look mundane, like blend into the crowd and shit. So I think that there might be something to it. But there was one thing I think we might have missed out is that character Trish, right? That got introduced, the boss's daughter.
Yep.
Yeah, we need to talk about that. I think
pink hair.
What do you think?
Oh my god, I don't care.
Yeah, what do you think about her, Master, when they revealed her and her personality and how like she's a princess basically, right? What do you think about her?
Why do I have this thought at the back of my mind that she's bullshitting? Like,
yeah, I can see that.
2 episodes for the finale. You thought?
Like, yeah. I mean, it's really quick,
that's probably
right?
not the case, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, Bruno got promotion at the same time, and she's there, and they've given this super secret mission to do, but somehow a dude manages to be there before them where the key is. Like, I think you might be right, man. Like, she's like an inside person, or she could be an inside person for her dad, man. Like,
the boss himself. It's not him. It's her.
Her being the boss. She's a bit young though, isn't she, to be the boss? Like we were predicting early on that his age might be a little bit older than she is, but then we predicted that maybe someone's got a stand that prevents them aging or something. I forgot who it was. Memory was saying or something. But I don't know, man. But I'm with Master. I think there's more to her than meets the eye. I think. Like Bruno suddenly got this promotion and he's been tasked with protecting the daughter. And even though they've got a dude with them, Journo, who the man in the mirror had all the details about him. Do you remember when he was reading out that paper? Oh, your background's this, your background's that. You got this new guy called Journo with you. I think there's something more to it. Like they're getting tabs, like they got tabs on them and all that. So I still think there's going to be a betrayal somewhere. Somebody's going to betray somebody, but I'm still just waiting for that to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
somebody could just be like, screw all this. Like,
yeah.
Like Brocati, like this dude, he's legit. He ain't got to worry about him.
Yeah.
He probably ain't got to worry about what was the purple lips dude name? And Tequila.
Abigail, yeah.
Abigail. Tequila.
Yeah.
He ain't got probably ain't got to worry about them.
Yeah.
But the Ranka and Fugo, they got history of anger problems. Even though Fugo was just like, yo, no, you the shit.
Yeah.
I trust you completely now.
What do you guys think of like Master Boy Up that Baki was like shouting at Jono, like he really's got something, like it doesn't trust him. But Jono's always like this, I hate to say it, but like a shonen protagonist. He gave a line, right? Like we have to save our friends, right? Do you remember that line in that episode where he was basically, it reminded me of like a grown up Naruto. It did. And do you think Jono's this? I think it's an act. This whole holier than thou act or lines that he gives to Bruno when he's like, "Oh, you hate drugs too," and we have to save our friends, even though he just literally got to know these guys. I think he's trying to get them on his good side, get on their good side. But I think he's not just that simple. Like he gives all these really heroic lines right before he jumps into the fire to risk his life, right? Like he was doing it before. But even though I think he's got a side agenda, man. Like it's weird. Like I don't know what to feel about.
So you think he's Dio then? He's gonna turn into Dio, or he really is Dio and he pretends to be a good person?
No, I feel as though
if the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, I mean.
Yeah.
See, I disagree.
Yeah.
Oh.
How do you think?
If you just look at Joseph and Jotaro, one was a coward, the other one was the other one loves to fight. I think. I don't think it really matters in the grand scheme of things. I think he is pretty honest, and I think he's pretty true to his word. I think he's a little bit naive because he thinks that he can do it all on his own, and that's why he doesn't hesitate. That's why he spews all these shonen lines like, let's do it, friendship and all that. But I think he's true to his word. But I think he needs to suffer a big loss.
Yeah. I mean, he's got no family, no people he really cares about around him apart from these people he's met, right? Even like Jotaro had his like Joseph, right? And he had people he cared for. He doesn't have anyone like that, I think, apart from his friends that he's just made with these guys. So he's basically someone with nothing to lose, technically. Like he was always someone with nothing to lose from the beginning, and now he's using these guys as a means to an end. And people, and like we said before, Bruno still doesn't know that Jono killed Popo. Everything that's happened to Bruno from the promotion and all that has kind of been thanks in part to Jono. So it's almost like he's using these guys to go up the ranks and then following with them, and then he's gonna drop a bombshell. Maybe I still feel that there's something not quite right about Jono, but like you say, MrX, it could be the case that you're right, and it's just. He's exactly who he says he is.
Well, maybe. As far as it goes with the whole thing with basically the betrayal, could be something that maybe they flip the script on Jono first.
Yeah.
Because like, why everybody's waiting on this? JoJo just takes a turn and be like, Abaki just be like, I never liked this motherfucker. Just pin a smack around nowhere.
Yeah. Could be.
And there's going to be some kind of deceit in the group because something like this usually happens. Well, it doesn't really happen in JoJo. Somebody just have
Brother's adventure.
Yeah.
But part 5 so far has not been a JoJo's adventure. It has been I can't even say he's been part of the team really. Like he's just kind of there. Is he? I think he actually might have had the least amount of screen time of all the characters so far.
Yeah. Yes. Him and Bruno, I think. Yeah, well, the least, he's had, and then after that is Bruno. I think. Sorry, Master. Yeah, what do you think about if you could do without this character in this show and still have the show get carried by the other characters?
Well, I think it's kind of that actually is kind of proven with the individual fights because Fugo basically he's the only guy with the fight so far that actually needed help.
Yeah.
Because he'd handle his business. America had to handle his business before he could return the car that got blew up. And then, at least while Jordan would try to help him, that's to be honest about the situation.
Yeah.
So, Not the fact that I would just not have him in the show in general, but ain't no shame in taking some time off. Records fight for three episodes. Those guys had a break.
Yeah. I feel as though like the community says that they really love Bruno. Like Bruno's like the MVP. Like they feel that he's the character they love most is Bruno. So even if it shifted to Bruno carrying the show, I could kind of see it. I know it wouldn't make sense for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure to not be carried by Joestar, but or anyone related to that line, right? But it would be ballsy to do it, man, if they did that. Because Bruno's got the charisma, he's got the power, he's got the ability, he's got the common, like the friendship with his own team. Jonah seems to be like a visitor almost to his own series, almost. I feel.
Yep. Well, here's my question, and to you two and to chat. In terms of main characters, at this point, obviously in part 5, where would you rank Giorno in compared to like all the other Joestars?
Well, he just hasn't had enough time. What's up, miscellaneous? He hasn't had enough time, really. So, I guess that's me saying I put him at the bottom of the list, but you know.
Yeah, I wouldn't put him at the bottom. I would put him above Josuke, but maybe a little bit below Jotaro, in my opinion. And Joseph, I feel as though I'm always shifting on Joseph, but right now I'd put him between Josuke and Jotaro. What about you, MrX?
Well, to me, I thought he started off brilliantly, and then since then it's just been like, who's what's his name again?
I mean, the thing about it is like in terms of blatant entertainment, the top two guys is probably going to be Josuke and Joseph for me. Because as much as you do like the other guys, Dio and Jonathan, they equally carry part 1. You can give that to both of them. Yeah. This show hasn't been carried so much by Joano so far, rather than the other guys, especially in recent episodes.
Yeah.
Part 3, my favorite character was Paranoia. So
I always wanted to ask a Josuke fan, so I'm gonna ask you, Master. What is it about Josuke that you like? I don't think there's anything I like. What is it uniquely about Josuke that you really, really like about him?
Well, Josuke's a terrible person.
Yeah.
Terrible people. Yeah. But his antics like theirs that does carry the show, and even more of a comedic level. I like him.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he is definitely
when they go through this bullshit, and sometimes when they deserve it, you just be like, "Hey, that's your ass, fool."
Yeah, he's the most balanced between serious and comedic, though. Yeah, I'll agree with you there. Jotaro's too serious. Joseph was a gentleman. Joseph was a comedian. He's a nice balance. I can see what you're saying. That he's a very balance between comedic and brash.
Even Josuke doesn't have a line. Josuke does have a line you don't cross. Otherwise, he's probably just gonna take your money.
Yeah, that's true. All they were trying to do is just get change and blow cash at the beginning of that show. Yeah, I love that as well. Even Shigechi, when they met him, he was just picking up change. He was using the stand to pick up change from the park, like coins and shit. So that was pretty jokes. Yeah, I can sort of see it. That was the early part of part 4. I think later on it kind of, for me, went a little bit downhill.
That's about one of my favorite scenes in part 4 is like when they had that, I think it was like a lottery ticket kind of thing or a scratch up.
Yeah.
Josuke and Okuyasu would just scream when they was happy they knew they won. They would just pat each other on the back and forth like, yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. That was jokes. Yeah, I remember that episode. Shit. Actually, now you're reminding me about the parts I actually liked about part 4, man. It's easy to forget, you know what I mean, once you finish the show, about some of the early stuff that was really dope.
There is actually something else I will admit.
Yeah.
That it's actually something part 5 hasn't done so far. One of the things I like about part 1, part 2, and part 4, no offense to Dio, even though he did this in part 1, I usually tend to enjoy a show more from a villain perspective the more we get to see the villain.
Yeah.
Like in part 1, Dio, you know, we saw him before we saw Jonathan.
Yeah.
And Josuke, freaking Kira showed up, and he basically had to battle them throughout the whole series or had to hide from them. Like you got the villain struggle.
Yeah.
Actually, after part 1, I don't blame Dio for taking the vacation in part 3. Fuck all that.
Yeah.
Like, who would be the legitimate boss of this season? Because it's not the boss of the group. We're trying to basically take care of his daughter. And we do have that group of people. I forgot how many people was it. That's after the boss's daughter. But that still doesn't feel like that's the main threat.
Execution Squad, right? That Execution Squad, the one that's like the antagonist, but like Bruno's version of the enemies, right? The guy who's at the end of episode 13, right? Post credits scene. That guy and his group. You're right. I think they might be the villains right until the end. I actually feel like the villain of this show won't be like a deal, not in terms of how over the top he is, but I don't think he'll be one of these crazy OP. My power is so much crazier than yours. I feel like he might be a mixture of Kira and someone a bit more powerful. Like he can actually hold his own even when he's found out. I feel that's gonna happen. Like the one thing I want to happen is the thing that annoyed me most about Kira is when he got found out at the end of part 4, he just couldn't put on an offense. He was on the run basically, and he was just on the back foot, right? I hope that even if they find out who the boss is of this group is, that he can fight. Like he can throw down with these guys. Like he can throw down with all of them at once, like that kind of thing. I hope that will be the case. But up until then, I think it would just be this execution squad, which I'm really interested to see, like how they play into it.
Basically, I just that was something that I would expect more from JoJo. It's something I would expect JoJo to throw something at me that I'm not expecting.
Yeah,
like you got these guys. That's kind of like I got in the back of my mind the whole thing with Trish.
Yeah,
we've always revealed these guys to be the main threat.
Yeah,
before even the first third of the show.
Yeah, I think and what's it doing this season is that you were saying that you were rooting for the enemy, right? Because this guy had to do so much to overcome the powers that were being thrown at him. Even in the Narancha fight,
yes.
even in Narancha's fight, what was the power called? The guy who shrunk things.
No, that's the guy's name, Formaggio.
Yeah, and his stand, I forgot what his stand was called, but I was rooting for him in that fight. Honestly, like he was on the back foot. He was like facing these rats. He was getting hunted down by the little bomber. Like I was feeling for it, and that's rare to see that a whole another group is getting backstory every time they come into the show. And then we saw their friend got murdered, right? Sliced into pieces.
Yeah, that was a good. That's actually a good segue because I wanted to talk about that badly.
Yeah.
That flashback.
Yeah,
I mean, we've got a lot of flashbacks now. I think we've got a flashback on each character now, so that's good. But that flashback that they had, that was nice. Nice to say the least.
That was brutal. What do you think, Master, of that scene when their mate got delivered to him piece by piece? Like that was messed up.
Man, why didn't they just put them in melted chocolate, just sit them all in one piece? You ain't had to cut them up.
Yeah, I mean,
they might as well just gave them one piece for every one of the members of that group. But like, this is each one of y'all ass when y'all come back over here.
Yeah, I think to your point, Master, that you were saying, like, who's the Arch Lord on this show, right? Who's the villain? People, even the guy who did the murder, right, of their friend, right? Was it Assault? What was the name of those two guys? Gelato and
some of it, Sorbet.
Sorbet and Gelato, yeah.
I was thinking name. Sweet, Italian word for sweet. I don't know.
I'm not gonna lie, that was such a perfect fruity name for, like, let's be fair, a bunch of fruity guys, right? So, like,
I mean, they say part 5 is when they turn into strippers.
True. Yeah, that's true.
They already got the chefs out.
Yeah. And I think that guy who chopped the guy into pieces, he might even be another antagonist in the show. I think there's so many clues to different forces like that could be coming and like fucking people shit up. Like I think he could be a threat as well, a big threat to these guys, picking them off while they're trying to pick off Bruno's squad.
The last thing I'm gonna say on the topic of their clothes, Bruno should slap the guy who sold up his suit.
Who sewed up his suit? Yeah.
He got all them holes in it.
Oh yeah.
But anyways, when it comes to that again with the villains,
yeah,
because in part 3 when they got to Egypt, they had 13 guys they had to beat to get the deal.
Yeah.
Fuck Vanilla Ice. I'm not talking about the rapper. Yes, but I'm talking about
Man of the. I was saying that as well. I like Vanilla Ice as well. That fight with Paranoia, and the Man in the Mirror looked like a skinnier version of less what's the word? Muscly version of Vanilla Ice. He had the same hair, he had the same loops in his hair and all that. Like, there's a lot of similar character designs I've noticed as well, from previous season to previous season to this season as well. Like, we haven't really talked about what do you guys think of the designs and the outfits and stuff. What do you guys generally think about the aesthetic of this show?
Gay.
What about you, MrX?
Typical JoJo, typical great.
Yeah, we were kind of discussing
it. Is the women's department and a lot of shoppers.
Yeah, and you know the weird thing.
I can't wear those outfits. But I look like.
It's funny that.
Shirt.
Yeah,
I mean, if you can pull it off, you can pull it off. But I don't think anyone can in real life.
Yeah.
What's up? Why the protagonist always got a school uniform? You see what everybody else got on?
Yeah, I know they stick out. Like, they're trying to be like criminals that are like keeping on the D-low, but they stick out so much when they walk in the street. Like, someone was even memeing it on Twitter where they go, these guys are criminals that are trying to hide their whereabouts and where they are, and they don't stick out and do everything covert, right? But when they walked in the street, they just stick out like anything, man. Yeah.
Tight ass pants, skinny jeans and shit. This is what rappers get done. You know what? Let me stop.
Yeah. No, you can say it, man. You can say it. But because I know some people. Yeah.
I know the fact that a lot of music artists watch anime.
Yeah.
For the get a lot of ideas from.
Yeah. That's true.
Miscellaneous P just brought up a good question. What is your favorite character design so far?
In part 5 or in JoJo's?
Yeah, just let's stick with part 5.
Favorite character design so far. Well, the worst character design is Fugo with that damn suit.
Well, if you don't know, I'll go ahead and say it. It's Mister.
But he does look like a pimped out Spider-Man.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
It works with his stand being gun themed as well. Looks a lot like, you know, and the stripes and whatnot look a lot like X's, like targets, rectangles. So yeah. I like his design.
I'd agree with you. When I said I liked his design, I was drawn to his Mr.'s design. I like yeah, fuck it, Mr. man. Yeah, Mr.'s design. I can't really think of anyone else.
We'll go with Mr.
Yeah.
Mr.
Those hats, you know what I mean? Those hats that you wear on your head where the straps come down the side. I like that because that's something you would actually wear like in winter or some shit, or like
beanie hats.
Your beanie hats, and even hip hop, like, you know, hip hop community, they like beanie hats. So it's something that looks okay. Like, it looks something like visually, I got nothing to say about it. It just looks good. The colors look good. Like you said, Spider-Man type thing going on.
How about
the other, yeah.
I'm cosplaying Mr. now.
We just talked about this a minute ago. Nobody can pull off the looks.
Nah, you can't. You got to be these, like, I hate to say it, but you got to be effeminate, skinny. You know what I mean? You can't have, you know what I mean? You can't be like a butch dude to cosplay these guys, man. You got to be like a poster model
whatsoever. To be real,
yeah.
You had never had a win in your life. That's why the stands do all the punching.
Yeah, that's true. Exactly, man.
Well, we also got, to be fair, we did get introduced to a new character too, but he just appeared for like an episode. Pericolo, the old guy.
Yeah.
But the guy with no stand that got out the way.
Pretty much
the role model of the series.
Yeah. Do you think that he's the boss?
Pericolo.
That would be true.
Because him saying, "Oh, I don't have a stand," to me, that's just saying, "I don't want to show it. I want you to believe that I don't have a stand." And he's got white hair, so we don't know, you know, if his hair originally was, well, I can't say pink because I'm thinking of Trish right now, but that he had different hair.
You think he's the kind of boss that hangs around, like no one even realizes, but he just hangs around everyone?
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. He could defend himself, right? Like, how's he? The fact that he's been walking around with Trish, I'm sure they have no security with them, like they said, right? Maybe you might be right. He could have a stand power that can protect, right?
I think so. I definitely do.
That little guy, little old dude, being the boss, man. That's jokes, man. What do you think stand power would be there?
Know everything.
Yeah. And they could come up with any stand power at this rate. Like next episode, they could come out with a stand power where, like they already have like what's his name, Rohan, who can read all your past, your history, rewrite your thought patterns and remembering. They could next episode come out with a stand where it's like, I have this stand. Like even friggin' Kira had like almost like time travel, didn't he? At the end of part 4, in his power. Like so, they could come up with whatever they need to fit this situation. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, man. I'm expecting like 7 or 8 twists and turns in the show, like between now and when it finishes.
I mean,
you guys did good. Oh, you go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna bring up like the end of the last episode. That guy that walked in at the end.
That reminded me of Crow. Do you know? Like, I don't know if you guys get that vibe, but it reminds me of the Phantom Troop, man. Those guys. I'm excited for those guys because that he looks like the leader, right? I think they showed him in the episode when they were all in the room together, and then the body parts were delivered. I think he is the Bruno of that team. But I'm glad that he's the one that's picking, like following them, or at that train station or wherever he was. So because I want to see what he can do. But I'm interested in those guys. We can see lots of different fights now with like not just fodder enemies who just fall, right? Now it's gonna be like proper like contenders.
I mean, the fact that we got a backstory on them to me just really says, you know what, they're gonna be here to stay. They're gonna be here. You know, I don't know for how long. You know, I can't really say. Maybe 2 episodes per person. I think like 5 people left or so. So about 10 episodes. Yeah. But they're going to be, you know, the group to stay. They're going to be the people to stay. They're going to be the ones that our protagonists are going to come up against. I can't even say that they are the antagonists because they're not really.
They're not. It's just a perspective thing, right? Like, they've got a good motivation to do what they're doing, just like Bruno's team has a motivation, right?
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, I do feel he is the leader. So I'm interested to see just how it's gonna move forward from here, and just what all of them can do really.
One thing somebody was I was wondering about their group. Do you think Sorbet and Gelato had stand powers? Because that was a debate that was being had, right? They got killed. Both of them got they got killed. One got tortured and one got killed. Do you think they had stand powers?
Yes.
It probably did. It was just irrelevant.
Pretty much. I mean, in all honesty, I feel like at this point in the story, if you don't have stand power, you're not really gonna do anything. And I don't think, considering that they are such a, I want to say threat, but they are such a dangerous group of people. If Sorbet and Gelato didn't have stand power, I think that would almost diminish their threat in a way. I know they're already gone.
The old guy, like, if you don't have stand powers, I'm sorry, you don't belong here. Go ahead, dip before you get your ass zipped up.
Yeah. I mean, it could be that the guy who killed Sorbet, whichever one of them he killed, right? He could have a stand power as well, which is just really powerful as well. Because you got to assume he has one. He's not just some fat butcher guy who's like working in some meat locker or something, and they just come there and he must have a stand power himself, like a savage one. Like if he's like a psychotic dude that would like deliver someone in pieces to someone, then his stand must be like ultra like psychotic and savage, and like Fugo's anger, that kind of thing. So I'm interested to see who that guy is and how he managed to pick them off, and I think that would be really interesting.
I just hope.
Yeah.
Actually, I just thought about it. What about Trish? Like, what's she gonna get into it? Because we've seen everybody else so far. Like, after Fugo, we've seen everybody else in the show do this shit.
Yeah. So you think Trish has a stand herself? You think maybe?
Yeah, I think they said the old guy said she did.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Ain't stands like, well, never mind. I have no idea. Because with that arrow going around, he was giving out stand abilities. But besides that, stand abilities also hereditary to some.
Yeah, hereditary as well. See, there's so many rules that I still don't 100% understand. I understand a little bit more of them each time an episode or part comes, but I still don't get the whole. If you get stuck by an arrow, will your kids have the power, or is it like random? And some other stuff about the history, right, of arrows and why there were no stands, like back in Joseph's time and all that stuff. So
one day,
yeah.
I pray for the sake of my sanity. That's all I need.
Anything we're missing?
If there's one stand, right? Because I feel like this might be a nice transition to the fights later on. But if there's one stand you would want to have, or not personally yourself, but you would want to see in the show, what would that be? Let's say this part specific, and the reason why I'm asking that is because obviously we can speculate on the stands of what the other people might have of the other group, but more so I'm thinking like what stand could the boss potentially have, because I feel like it has to be something powerful.
Yeah,
but I also feel like if you had something powerful, then that would be a little bit cliche.
Yeah, we know it represents the person, right? More so this season than any season. So what would it be? Like an invisibility, maybe? Something like that? Being able to hide and just get the whole time. Yeah, there the whole time, exactly. Like following them around, like invisible. We've seen that it represents the person. So we have to look at the person and imagine what... Yeah. Fuck, what could it be? If you think about gangster films, what could it be? Of all these Godfather-like figures and mob bosses and gangster bosses, what do you think the power could be? Like his power?
Concrete.
I don't know.
You know something I thought about? I know this kind of sets the bar high, but to my knowledge, we have this part in part 6, right? Because part 7 and 8 is kind of like, retelling of the different stories, like the main characters and past stories with different stories in it, something like that.
Yeah. 6 ends with 6 in it. This particular canon, right?
We already got like these next 2 main villains, is going to have to be over the top, over everybody. Like they got to be Dio at this point.
Yeah, you're right though.
That can stop.
Escalation almost. Like it's stupid to think that Dio would be the height of everything, especially with how evolved now the stand powers are. They may be smarter, but they also need to be really brutish, like really over the top in terms of destruction and stuff. So yeah, it has to be, right? It has to be kind of a more insane stand. What could it be, man? I'm wondering myself. Yeah,
teleporter. That's why nobody knows how he looks like.
Yeah, teleport.
Just before someone sees him, he vanishes.
Yeah. like you were saying, Mr. Egg. What if his stand's called Concrete Shoes? That would be jokes. That would be jokes.
Dying with the fishes.
Yeah.
You be lit lighter, so you must die. You seen the light be lit.
Yeah, I can tell that some people in the chat, right, like I've probably read the manga and they're so desperate to like itching to say stuff, but they can't. So it's weird, man, theorizing about this shit. Yeah.
I respect that.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
this stand is everything the sun touches, everything the light touches.
Yeah,
belongs.
Everything the light touches.
Well, I think we've now seen everyone's backstory, right? So my question to all of you is, whose backstory do you like the most so far?
I hate all the backstories.
Is it?
Now it's something like the backstories suck. It's just like...
Yeah, actually, that goes in line with what things we might not like about it. But yeah, backstory wise, I think I like fucking what's that guy?
I guess people are probably like the Ranchers because there was that one manga page that was always in the JoJo fan base that they kept throwing around about Fugo saying, "Get this man some spaghetti."
Yeah, when he brought him in, right, to Bruno's. That was it. Yeah, Naranchas. I have to say, yeah, Narancha was a good one. I like that backstory. What about you, Prince?
Fugo, I think. I think Fugo had the... I don't want to say the worst, but no.
He was getting molested, isn't it, by his teacher and shit for like a while, yeah.
I'm just trying to remind myself like each person's backstory, but I think if I look at all of them, I think Fugo's backstory, in my opinion, is probably the best.
You probably had the most. Well, that's not really my place to say, depending on the situations that people have in life. But like the most they had to overcome from their hardships, like they all hit rock bottom before they met Bruno. Wait, what's Bruno's backstory?
We don't know, do we? We don't know yet.
Question.
Well, actually, I mean, he fought Giorno, but he hasn't had his legitimate fight yet. So there is one more. Bruno still got to get in.
They got a problem. They got a thing for drug habit, right? So Bruno's backstory's got to be to do with his mom or parents like dying of drug overdose or something like that. I'm guessing.
Well, his backstory is very simple. He doesn't have one. It's just yeah. I don't know. I just like this life, and so I chose it. So yeah, that's that.
Bruno's like this savior figure, right? Like big boss figure, like going around recruiting.
When I grew up, I mean, I saw it on TV. It looked cool. I seen Scarface, so I was like, I want to try that.
I'm gonna make them enough when they can't refuse.
That's jokes. Yeah. You want to be gangster just by watching films. That would be interesting, man. Hilarious. Like one guy's backstory is just that. Like he didn't grow up piss poor, right, or on the streets or bum broke, right. He was just watching the film. He's like, you know what? I feel like doing this shit one day. Yeah.
That's the NSP. I appreciate those spoilers.
Yeah. So what about this show so far? Because I actually want to ask Master and you, MrX, because I don't think I've even talked to you about this because we brought it up in the last one. Is there anything about this show you don't like compared to the other parts, or you think is weak? Master, is there anything weak about this show you could point out?
I might need a minute to think about that because JoJo and Weak don't really go together. So
yeah, I agree with you, man. But I'm sure we can find something that we can nitpick, right? Because it can't just be like undying praise. I'm sure there's something like we can find that.
I mean, it's not really necessarily a problem with JoJo. It's more so a problem with me.
Yeah, it's a subjective thing, right? That kind of thing.
Like JoJo, as they enhance, like they go more creative, can't speak, with their stand abilities, it goes over your head sometimes. Like I don't know what JoJo's power is.
Yeah, I agree.
The mirror
there got to be some kind of limitation on it.
It can be really abstract, but the solution can be almost like a ass pull at the end. Like for me, I'm down with JoJo's power being abstract and not being able to understand it. But let's talk about the friggin'. We haven't even talked about it. We briefly talked about it, but him just being able to create anti-venom, like he had a chemistry set in his power as well, where he just was able to make a. How does that work?
I'm telling you, 200 IQ.
Actually, think about that might be something to think about because maybe it's like the fact that how OP JoJo is, because the first two guys didn't even have stands. Amon had his weaknesses, especially against the Pillow Man.
Yeah.
Totaro, he realized he could stop time, but he didn't figure that out until he actually fought Dio.
Yeah.
There were plenty of times where he needed help to get out of a situation.
Yeah.
And Josuke, he was able to bring things back to his original form and heal things, except for himself.
Yeah.
As you was whooping his ass, that's his problem.
Yeah.
That's like Giorno hasn't been caught in a bind yet because he has had his problems in these fights so far. It's just that he hasn't needed help yet.
Yeah, and plus, like even Paul, I expected Popo's stand to be more of a threat considering this is the guy that goes around turning everyone. So what's stopping? I know he's protected in prison almost, but it's where they started off the series with a fight with Popo, who is actually easily higher up the chain than the other guys. So I don't think the rules necessarily apply now that the higher up you go the chain, the more powerful they become. So you're going to see like variations in outcomes, right, in these fights.
Bruno's
so, yeah. And Bruno's power, yeah.
I don't think stands really make you powerful. I think your intelligence makes you powerful. Like using your stance. I don't think it really matters. Like somebody could have the most broken stand but be at the bottom because they're not utilizing it properly. Like you look at something like let me think of a stand that's relatively broken, but the person just isn't using it right. Yeah, I don't know. They all seem crazy at the moment. So I
still want to talk about the anti-venom thing. Like we know that Journo can create life, basically. Like he can turn one form of life into another form of life, and he can accelerate growth. So he can make something age quicker, like the tree. He made that tree age and that. But how do you make an anti-venom? Like, how does that? Like, I know it's anti-venom is like a living. It's dead cells, right? Dead, but it's still like a living thing. So, see, this is why I don't understand. Like, I really do feel that they pulled out their ass, man. Legit.
Well, what I'll say is this: I think, I mean, considering he's Dio's child, and Dio at the end turned into a vampire.
Yeah.
Him, in a way, controlling life makes sense, but I don't want to say it goes as far as just control and alter, because I think that would be too broken.
He's got the power of a god almost. He wills life into existence, whatever he thinks of. So he thinks of but what does that mean to think of an I know I'm going too into it. It's probably gonna make sense later on, but
I'm gonna be out in about 10 minutes.
Okay, okay, yeah. I mean, we can wrap up around that time, right? Anyway, so yeah. Like, how do you will anti-venom into? He just thought it, and it comes into existence, right? And it works. Like, I still kind of iffy about that, but I don't know how you guys feel. I think you guys probably maybe overthinking it, or probably don't think on it that much.
It's a little bit in between.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
I don't mind. I don't really mind. The last time that kind of this level of stuff happened was in part 2. After that, I didn't really question it too much. But this was a bit of a stretch, though. This one is a bit of a stretch.
Well, it's antibodies, and antibodies are obviously part of life in a way, if you want to say it.
Yeah.
So I guess it does make sense to a degree, although it is kind of a stretch in all fairness. But
yeah, I mean, he even said the snake was born in an environment where the virus existed. So automatically, this snake has now become immune to the virus, and we can use. Maybe I'm not saying this has to be scientific, but I want to know how.
Well, you do want to have an explanation.
Yeah, yeah.
This snake was born over here. No, it wasn't. You just made the snake up.
Yeah, exactly. It was an adult size the minute he created it. It didn't go start off as a little tiny fucking snake.
I mean, to be fair though, to I mean, if he can accelerate life, then you know you could say, well, it lived 100 years, or well, snakes don't live that long, but it lived a bunch of years.
Yeah,
that's where the antibodies came from.
This reminds me of like FMAB, but you can't transmute like a brick into a living thing, right? It's like even more broken than FMAB's like alchemy powers.
I would say I don't know.
Yeah.
They gotta give us more, but we don't really see them in the show anyway.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think they're gonna dole it out to us.
The imagination.
Yeah. But I like that Araki thinks of it. He doesn't think that he's like, if this was Togashi, right, in Hunter x Hunter, he'd go to the ends of the earth to explain how this snake became a brick. Like, he legit would, and he'd spend like several chapters explaining it, right? Like how Kurapika's chains and rings got like explained one by one, right? This does this, this does that. But I'm glad that he doesn't think like that. He doesn't think, oh, I'm not going to pretend to be smarter than the audience. I'm just going to do something cool, right? And it's going to be cool, and we're going to watch it, and then you can move on to the next thing.
I mean, I guess in a way it's good that there's actually that much explanation involved. Now the fact he can't give an explanation. He just isn't one. My power is to make living things. I made this snake.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, he probably gets that. He gets why the fandom love this show, right? For certain aspects, right? And big things never been the whole exposition thing. So, yeah.
I mean, you could make your own explanations. I think that's good enough. Just saying, well, the snake grew up here. It was exposed to poison, it was exposed to venom, so we're just going to age it a lot so that it will create the antibodies in itself. It will speed up that process. We'll speed it up by 100, so instead of it taking years and years and years, or months and months and months, instead it's going to take a instant. And then we've got the anti-venom.
Yeah.
We've got it. Yay!
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, this season, one more separate topic is that this season has the most amount of references that I actually recognize. Like I remember previous seasons had like music references that I didn't understand. I think that might be more to do with the fact that it's reaching close to the generation that we grew up in, right? From artists, Michael Jackson references, Prince references, Queen references, Aerosmith. That's like, yeah. Like, what do you think of the references this season?
Well, we still in the 90s.
Sorry?
Hey, have we reached the 90s? I have no idea where we are right now.
Yeah, no, like the references, the musical references, like they had. Do you think the references this season are a lot more recognizable, a lot more better than the previous season's references, like the stand names and stuff?
The answer to your question is yes, because I can't recognize more. I'm just trying to figure out like what year are we in. Like, I'm thinking we're in the 90s or 80s, but now I'm thinking like, are we even in the 1900s?
Yeah, I think this part of the manga must have been the late 90s, right? It must have been.
Yeah, I think so. Definitely, just based on the technology that they have.
Because I remember 90s was like glam rock, like Aerosmith. So definitely with the Kraftwerk were also like late 90s, somewhere around. They've been around for ages. Kraftwerk and Black Sabbath have been around for ages as well. But I feel like I recognize more of these references, and it helps me enjoy these powers a bit more. Like there was the Jimi Hendrix reference, Purple Haze. I keep forgetting mixed up. Yeah, Purple Haze. And then we had Man in the Mirror, Michael Jackson.
I'm starting with the man in the mirror.
Yeah, see, so I like that. I appreciate them more because I know people haven't had to bombard my comment section with this reference means that and that reference means this, because I was able to recognize most of them. I thought that I can dig it, that it represents a generation, right? Like each part has different era, flavor, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just part of. It's different music all the time, so you're always gonna recognize some. You're always gonna recognize others. So maybe in part 6, or if you go back in part 4, you might recognize more than you actually thought you would.
Yeah.
And I think maybe in part 5 later on, I don't know, you might recognize less and less.
Yeah. What do you guys think of the translations for the stands? Because we know what they are actually saying, but their translations, like Kraftwerk was arts and craft, right? What do you guys think of the translations? Do you think they're whack, or
it's never bothered me?
It's just like the Japanese dub clearly says the actual name.
Yeah.
So I get why the subtitles is doing that. It's just that when does this problem arise with certain copyright and stuff like that?
Yeah.
I mean, if it doesn't start right in the beginning when you're dubbing the show, then why even?
Yeah. It would be worse if the English dub had the new names, because then it would really like.
Actually, I've never watched JoJo in English like that. I've seen some clips, but I watched English JoJo. I haven't done that.
Yeah, neither have I. I couldn't imagine watching JoJo in English. There's some shows I would, but I don't think JoJo I'd ever like look back to the dub.
I believe most of my shows I prefer in English if I can. JoJo's not one.
Yeah. It's like selective basis. I think like it depends on what the show's about. Yeah. Yeah, the delivery as well is a lot different in the English stuff. Plus they have to match the mouth flaps. You know what I mean? Like sometimes they have to put in an awkward sentence just because it fits the mouth moving, and not even because it's a full translation of whatever the Japanese was. So I noticed that happens as well.
We get like the British series guys make their own mouth flaps.
Yeah.
Funimation,
yeah.
What kind of music reference do you guys expect to see in the future? Any songs, band, or artists you'd like to see referenced?
Tupac,
yeah.
And a lot of Tupac.
More hip hop references. I'd want to see. I think because I know Araki likes hip hop, right? And we're starting to get more hip hop, or at least R&B type influence this season, like because it's in the 90s. I want to see more of that.
I need the boss of the series to be a woman, and her name is going to be Mary Hale, and her stand is going to be called Notorious.
That would be jokes, man. And plus, most of these album names, they lend themselves really well to these stand names. Like I can easily imagine, like there was even a Killer B, right?
Killer Queen. That's
Killer,
Kira.
Killer Queen. But there was a Wu-Tang reference. I think it was last season, or was it part 2 or 4? Had a season to a reference to a Wu-Tang album. I forgot what it was though. I think it might have just been the translation, but
I should just figure it out.
Yeah.
The boss of Stan. It is everything the light touches. The Stan is all eyes on me.
All eyes on me. Nice.
That's the Stan.
Yeah.
Anything less than that, I'm dropping JoJo.
What about you, Mr. X? Any references you want to see in the future? Because the guy listens to everything.
Besides really more hip hop references such as Tupac, Biggie, maybe Snoop Dogg.
That would be dope.
But I don't know what you could reference possibly.
There's one guy that's gonna come in high as hell.
Yeah.
This is my
It's the firing blunts at people, yeah.
Man, go take care of these guys for me, man. I'm hot. If you a job, all right. What's your stand name? The Chronic?
The Chronic, yeah, that would be jokes, man. I would love to see that. I think it's because of the Jap. Like he's a really cultured dude, Iraqi is. So it's like a godsend that he even listens to anything that isn't like J-pop and all that stuff. So you may see that stuff in the future, man, because the guy knows his music. So
yeah, it could be like, nah, that'd be a little too far.
Well, what were you gonna say?
There'd be some random references to late '90s animes.
Late '90s animes, yeah.
That'd be weird. This one guy comes out in a straw hat.
I wouldn't want them to do that because like Gintama does that a lot. Like it references the popular stuff. Like JoJo's always been this outlier, right? So if they reach that point where we reach a JoJo where they're making straw hat references or I don't know, Yu Yu Hakusho references, then it would be kind of weird.
I was just thinking Yu Yu Hakusho. I was just thinking Smile Bomb. That would work as a stand name. Smile Bomb.
Smile Bomb.
That would be dope.
Yeah.
One of my favorite openings of all time. That straight up, that'd be my favorite sound straight away.
That song is good for the soul.
Mm.
Anyway,
anything else we've missed out that's happened in the last like 6 episodes?
I mean, we've covered the 2 fights that happened, or well, the 2 fights plus the conclusion, I should say.
Yeah.
We discussed Trish a little bit. I mean, there's not really much to discuss about her because we don't know anything yet.
Trish,
yeah. Man in the Mirror, we did. I thought that guy's power was like we didn't really answer the question, but I feel as like his power didn't seem like it was powerful. Like he didn't like they said he didn't have the fist the punching power. Once he used his Man in the Mirror power, he didn't have much left in him apart from to like take out a dude one by one in the mirror. So I don't think it was over. The stand power was useful and utility, but it wasn't that. It was just hard to understand. Was the problem. And once they figured it out, they just annihilated the guy.
I just realized something.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you. The last stand, the boss of stands. We've been hearing his name the whole time. It's freaking you.
Freaking you shit, man. Do you know what? If it was that, I would just laugh. Like I'd remember what you just said, Master, and I'd laugh in that reaction if it was that. Like that would be dope, man. That would be dope.
That's low key about to be my favorite anime ending of all time.
Shit, man.
The hype is real.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't see that. But if that happens, you know what?
What if it is though, man? Freaking. What would his power be though? If it's that, it will be related to what it sounds like. I guess.
I think the reason probably why it won't be that because it's unfortunate, but eventually the opening and ending is going to change.
Yeah, that's true. People are expecting it's going to change now after this recap. Some people were assuming that it would change.
How many episodes show got anyways?
39, and we're a third of the way through, which is like nothing, I think. Yeah,
he just started to grow that afro.
Yeah.
Well then, I mean, let's discuss what you lot think the next ending will be, because we can't really discuss the opening, but the ending itself.
Rock music.
I think it will be. He went for the kind of slow jam and R&B stuff, right? I think it will be something like a glam rock, glam rock sort of ending. I think.
So maybe. You can twerk the freaking you, so never mind.
Yeah.
Don't ask me how I noticed.
What about you, Mr. X? What do you think it'll be?
Purple Rain.
Purple Rain. What, Prince? Okay.
Yeah, you know why, Prince.
Yeah.
This time, yo.
It depends on what Warner.
Well, give me Thriller.
I can see it.
Thriller, yeah.
But I think the licensing would be just a nightmare with Thriller.
Yeah. What was that song that people were?
Got the actual song though.
Yeah.
But y'all gotta get out of here first.
Okay. All right, Master Man. It was good
Take
having
care.
you on, man. Take it, man.
What do you guys think the next one's gonna be?
Well, I'd say probably 4 episodes, depending on what happens.
Yeah. Get Ken back on. Yeah, 2-3 episodes. We'll do it next.
I'm getting paid for this, right?
Sir? You get okay? You get paid. I see no checks for myself, man. So I don't know.
Hey.
You got paid, Mr. X.
The first one gets paid, the rest gets paid. We just got
That's true. You can host it. You can host it next time, Master, if you're able to. How long is it till the strikes go? On your channel?
I actually don't even know. Let me check that right quick. Gangsta's
Yeah.
paid.
Yeah, because I always remember that Master was here with us like from the beginning, but he never got to. Him and Blaze never got to host, so it'd be good to just rotate it.
Yep.
Hold on, let me get to my settings on YouTube.
I'm guessing it's
No, we're not. We're still going.
I'm on my
Just
freaking
got home.
You want to get in on this, Greece?
Greece is it?
Yeah. A lot of these guys forgot that it was today. They thought it was tomorrow. I'm guessing Ken was the same. Yeah.
It's the 29th, so yeah, we basically wait.
Nice.
We do it again in like 3 weeks. I'll be able to host it.
Yeah, man, that's perfect. That's perfect. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah.
I'm gonna get KenSenpai to make me another banner.
I mean, so we kind of just talked about that, and you didn't get an answer yet.
Yeah. Sorry. What was? Could you remind me what it was again that we were on?
The ending. What ending you like to see?
Yeah. I thought there wasn't. What was that fan dub people did over the intro, saying it would go perfectly before when the intro got leaked, right? For JoJo.
Yeah, I know what you mean. When I think it was Filmation or whoever the studio was asked, what would you like to see the ending be? I don't know what it was.
Yeah,
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah, the chat. Basically, people started fan dubbing the intro, saying this song and that intro will be perfect together. With that song, I think could be the next ending. But if they got the clout right, Warner Brothers are the ones that do the licensing right for this music, so I think they can do it.
You know what? I'd love to see them go all out.
Yeah.
Go all. I don't know how the licensing will probably be the worst ever. Because I'm pretty sure Sony owns it. But I would like them to go and get Smooth Criminal.
Smooth Criminal, yeah. Smooth Criminal would be dope. Hey, Greased.
Yo, what's up? Can you hear me?
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
We can hear you. I will say one. Sorry, yeah. Sorry, like I know the timings got like wires got crossed. Like I knew that it was gonna be today. I just didn't assume that Ken or you like thought it was gonna be the day after.
Yeah, no, I thought it was Friday, but then I like took a glance at the chat, and I was like, "Oh, tomorrow? Okay."
Yeah, Prince was like UK time, 12 a.m. like the next following day, where it was 7 p.m. for you today.
Yeah. I was out with a buddy, so I couldn't really rush home.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool. But yeah, we can like you can catch us up on what you thought of the last couple of fights, the Narancha fight and the Ken's in as well.
Welcome.
This is some good timing.
Yeah, man.
Can you guys hear me good?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, good. Because my mic is kind of messed up. I was, deciding on joining if I could.
Yeah. So we held down the fort as long as we could, and it's good you guys came in at the right time. But yeah, we've been talking about it, but Greased and you can. Your thoughts, like man, on the last couple of fights, particularly Trish, Narancha, and the Man in the Mirror fight. What was your thoughts on that?
You go ahead first, Ken.
Oh, thank you. I was gonna say, literally, these fights are very different than what we've seen in the previous parts. Not only are they more gruesome, but one thing that I really love is like the usage of the stand abilities. I feel like that has changed a lot because you not only is the fights more in depth, but like also like everyone's going in to kill more of like it's not just like oh a slap on the wrist, we beat you, we will never see you again because we're going in a different location from you, like how part 3 was. But it's like we are gonna kill you because in the future you're gonna affect us, and I really love that. Like the battles are incredible, and you can see David Production really stepped up its game. Like the animation is unbelievably beautiful, like it's insane.
Yeah. They really like sorry, I don't want to cut you off because but the animation, like the dedication, like are really good. Every episode has a frame like that looks like artwork that you can like put up on your wall, right? Like frame it and put it up. Like everything's been like consistent. I agree with you, and we were actually saying before that the way they use their powers now is way more interesting. It can be simple, but they can use it in like visually appealing ways.
Exactly.
Yeah. What about you, Greece? Last couple of fights, how have they been for you? Where would you rank them? What stood out to you?
I have like a mix of opinions. One I liked more than the other. I guess the Aerosmith fight, the Naranchas fight, I really liked that one because I didn't think that there would be such a great application of like a shrinking ability.
Yeah.
And like the most minor like rats or something, like things that you wouldn't normally worry about, they could like accommodate that into a fight and make it seem like kind of scary, which is really weird to me. And at the same time, it's like at first you're like, okay, so I guess this is someone like a power that can be used well to like trap someone, but maybe not the most useful because it takes so much time to actually get someone like small enough that you can actually have a decided advantage.
Yeah.
But then you see his application of when he put that car in that dude's like body.
Yeah.
That was insane.
Yeah.
That was the craziest thing I've seen all year.
Yeah. The utility of these stand powers is so like multi-pronged. Like it's way more. There's way more utility to these powers than just punching something till it like drops, right? Like the old seasons. I agree with it. We actually didn't talk about that car scene, the flashback, Prince, where we put the car in the guy's thing and just landed a drink. Yeah. That was insane. And it killed the wife as well, didn't it? The wife.
Smashed her head.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. That's why I was disappointed with the other fight a little more. Yeah. I thought there was a dichotomy between them because that's probably what I like most about JoJo's is that like it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But they establish some rules that seem believable to me once it's completely like explained within the realm of the actual universe that it's being told in. And the Mirror Man fight was the only one where I was like, I guess the only thing that really bothered me was the ending outcome.
Oh yeah.
Like me like being like in medicine and like science, and it was a bunch of bullshit. That's all I'm gonna say.
It's funny you brought that up because I literally was gonna ask you just now, like, what did you think of? We were talking about it. Anti-venom from like nowhere. Like I'm not sure that's how it works, right? Like create
antibody production in general. It was funny because my comment section was like, yeah, I was kind of curious if you'd actually buy into this stuff, and the other half of the comments were like, you don't use logic in JoJo, it's magic. I was like,
you use pseudoscience, right? Like, to figure that out.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like the whole thing was that somehow because a brick was smothered in poison, somehow that being turned into a human, like the first step is believing that once a brick turns into a snake, it's going to somehow have immunity because it was in a brick, can't get poisoned. So that means it has antibodies to it somehow. Then it got turned into a snake. Then the snake got stabbed. It took the blood and put it into someone else. But actually to get antibodies made, it takes about 2 weeks. So, But at the same time, you also have the other guy, his arm melted off in like 30 seconds, whereas Giorno's arm like was fine for like 5 minutes for some reason. I was my brain was about to break. I was like, okay, I don't know what to do here.
What about you, Ken? Would you like? What was your favorite fight in the last couple of fights we had? We're talking about Man in the Mirror one, but of all the last couple of fights, Ken, what was your one that stood out to you? Like personally, was really something you really enjoyed?
Ooh, this is a question because I loved all the fights, but for my personal favorite, because then Mista was also a good fight.
Yeah, we had Narancha, we had Mista's fight, and we had the man in the mirror with three of them trying to take him.
Abakio, like I guess if you count that, like it was like a little fight. It wasn't like too crazy,
Yeah.
I would have to go with Narancha. Yeah, because you see the whole thing with Narancha's fight for me, it was more to like the point where Narancha is kind of bullied to an extent. Like even though we know everyone has love for each other there, like he's kind of like the underdog. Like people don't really look to him with like, oh, he's gonna hold it down. You know what I mean? Like hold the fort or anything like that. And even when you can, like, while you watch the episode, you can see, like, Fugo and others, they're like, oh, will he get it right? I told him this, I told him that, I told him do exactly this. Is he okay?
Yeah.
I'm so worried. And just to see Narancha pull it off by himself, I feel like that's what I love. Even with the flashback added, seeing how his childhood was, I feel like it all added to make, it a really great fight. And, like, you really root for Narancha towards the end.
I think we were...
Oh, sorry about that.
No, sorry. You continue.
Oh, no, I was going to say, even though the Purple Haze fight was amazing, I feel like Purple Haze is the best stand design by far. Can we just, like, I don't know, my opinion, like, he looks so awesome. Like, the mask look with it, how his mouth is, like, kind of, so he can't speak, like he's being tamed, because he looks like a wild animal kind of thing. I really love that design he has. And even, like, the funny moment when he's cleaning himself, because he likes to be clean, and, like, he keeps spitting on himself and then trying to polish it. It's so, I love the dynamics that they're doing with the stands this part. We missed the stand, and now we're seeing it with Purple Haze. Like, I love it.
Yeah, I mean they have their own personality. Like Six Bullets has its own, or they're autonomous almost. They have their own personality, their quirks. Like you say, Purple Haze. I agree with you. Purple Haze, I think, is the most terrifying stand. Like it has an impression on you when it comes out, right? It's got the poison in its fists and all that, and it's angry and it's drooling. I thought that was really interesting. One thing we can quickly go over is we were talking about it before, like our reaction to that moment in the flashback for Magio, where they Sobe and Gelato got delivered. No, one of them got delivered in pieces. I saw you. I went to Greece reaction when he was there, and I even saw your reaction as well, Ken. Like everyone was shocked. That was one of the pivotal moments the last couple episodes, right? What do you guys think? Because people are talking about the butcher guy who delivered it. He might be a really big antagonist. We got introduced to Execution Squad. What are your hopes and thoughts about Execution Squad? I'll start. Greece, you start.
I mean, it really drives home that, like, I don't know, from the beginning, people have been telling me that this part is like a lot darker than the other parts. And that just really helped me realize that a little more. I guess I'm a little more excited for this part just because of how serious it seems all of a sudden. Yeah. And I guess the thing is for me, in JoJo's, I have a ton of fun, like pretty much with every episode. But once I get like an antagonist that I'm like kind of fearful for the main crew, like that's when I get really, really invested into the series. And it seems like they're kind of positioning themselves to have multiple people that can offer that kind of like thrill in watching. So I guess that's what really, really gets me excited about showing someone that is capable of that already, and kind of foreshadowing and making us a little more tense of, okay, what's going to come in the future, keeping it like a little mixed up a little bit.
Yeah. The character count is already so dense already. Like, when you consider how many individual unique characters have been introduced, like the prospect is like exciting, like the fights and all that. What about you, Ken? Your thoughts about that particular episode, that shocking 10, right? Because that's when it went really grim, like really dark. And when we introduced a whole new group of characters, we were going to be interesting. Because I likened it more to like the first time we saw Phantom Troop in Hunter x Hunter. Like being introduced to this whole new group of characters with a leader, interesting powers. You give a crap about them. So what did you feel about that?
Honestly, it scared me. The first reason why it scared me is because it started making me think like we might have to face these people, and these guys are no joke. Because if you look at how the gang's facing up against how do they pronounce it? La Squadra? Is that who we're facing up against? Yeah. How we're facing off against them. They're no joke. Like they've shown us like, like they are about business. And to see that there's someone that could deal with them the way that they did, it kind of scares me for like the gang, how they will be in that situation. Will we be able to survive that? And you know how JoJo is with the no chill. They don't care. They'll kill people off. They show that countless times. For like the gruesomeness of it, I would say it was very gruesome. But after seeing that, I thought about all the other scenes in JoJo that have previously happened, like part one. Part one was pretty gruesome. Part two had gruesome scenes. You know, I just started thinking back and I'm like, you know, I know about the JoJo gruesomeness, but like to that extent, chopping off every part of the body and putting it into like, wow, that just took it to a whole different level. And the funny part is that same episode, I mean, it's not funny, it's kind of sad, right? That same episode was with the car, like where the car busted out of the guy and crushed his wife's head. So, like, they went all out with that episode. They said, you know what, let's go a little, you know, bit higher with our gore and whatnot.
Yeah. Do you guys fear that because this season is promising to be like the most brutal part yet, that there will be censorship, that we're going to start seeing those black splodges of censorship again? You think they'll animate it in a way that will bypass like whatever restrictions they have? Are you scared about the censorship that might happen now down the line? Like Greece, for example.
Yeah,
like.
I don't think so. I mean, the thing is, even with the gruesome scenes, I think the studio is like smart enough that they kind of, I guess they don't do this censorship in the form that you're talking about with black bars and all that stuff. They just do really good camera work.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with, like, you know, when Jonathan got his head cut off, like that's pretty gruesome, but they still showed stuff like that. If they can do that,
and
show someone getting cut into pieces and having holes stabbed into you and getting arms cut off. I guess the thing is, if something's a little too gruesome, like I guess like the brother, after he'd seen what happened, like when the other guy got cut into pieces, it was his brother, right? That was on the ground.
I think it was his gay
his lover. It was his lover. Yeah,
gay lover.
Yeah, and he got torn apart too, but they kind of like stylized it. Yeah. So I can see like something like that happening, but I don't think JoJo's the type to do that. They know how important the series is to a lot of people. It's not their style.
Yeah, they did change it over the. Remember when before Jotaro, when he would smoke his cigarettes, and it was like, what the heck? Like, you could, like, they did something. I forgot what they did. Like, there was a black bar on the screen to a point where you couldn't even see his mouth. Like, it was like, wow, just one cigarette.
Yeah, shade. It's black shade, right? It's like a shadow underneath his thing.
Yeah, you were like, what the heck? What is this? You know what I mean? And it was just like him smoking a cigarette. So I love how they, over the years, they started saying, you know what? This is what our fan base likes. You know, we get a little gruesome, and we know, like, with the Blu-ray DVDs, we're going to show everything, but we can make it to a point where they can at least see, you know what I mean? And at least enjoy. Like, it's not, like, too censored.
Yeah, I feel as though this part isn't as heavily censored as maybe part 3 or even part 4, because part 4 had a lot of censoring as well. Like, the dog that was dead, right, with the ghost girl, right? Like, it was basically covered in black, because they couldn't show the dog's throat was slit, right? So you don't notice it as much in this season. Are there any other things that stood out to you guys that you want to talk about, like, particularly that was bugging you about or on your mind about something you really enjoyed in these last episodes?
These last episodes, what did I really enjoy?
Actually, you know what, Trish? Let's talk about Trish. Trish. Yeah.
I love Trish so far. Like, from what we've seen, I really like her design and her attitude, and I feel like, you know, like, all the time, like, now that I re-looked at the opening, I've seen her in the opening, right? I always wondered, who's this? Someone's girlfriend or something like that? That's what I was thinking. Like, who is this? You know what I mean? Good thing they gave closure and made us, like, they brought to us, like, the fact that, okay, this is the boss's daughter. Now, do you guys think it's possible for people to find out who Trish's father is through her? Like, maybe, like, her standability, or, like, because we know La Squadra wants her, but, like, do you think it's possible?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the whole point of trying to kidnap her, right? And figure out that.
But I feel like, I mean, I do agree to an extent, because, like, of course, with Giorno and his ability, like, you can see some Zawordo in Giorno to an extent, like, with his stand. But I'm like, I don't know. I feel like it would be, it's a shot in a haystack kind of thing. Like, it's not, like, how can you really do it? You know, I guess maybe they have their method, but, you know, maybe they have a stand user.
Exactly. We've got so many different stands. I'm sure there's going to be one that can maybe blood track or something. I'm thinking heroes right now, but something along those lines.
But we were pointing out that they had to go get that key, right? And it was a key, they had a vehicle so that they can transport her, right? But then whoever was tracking them was way ahead of them, like, and he had like a piece of paper that knew everything about Team Bruno, about Journo just joining, about their backstories, their record, their criminal records. Like somebody's got like the inside track on these guys, right? And we were talking about, we feel as though they're being tracked by like an unknown third party that might be the boss, like, and that the daughter might be some mole, like inside mole. Any thoughts on who she might be and what something might happen with her, like a twist? Because right now she's like a princess, almost like a typical entitled princess character. I think that's just a sham. I think a lot of people are putting on a front, which might not be the case later on. What do you guys think about her character?
I would. Oh, sorry about that.
No, it's fine. Why would Trish? Do you expect Trish to be the one giving all that information? Like she wasn't there until recently.
Not her giving the information, but her being like like a mole type.
She's the boss.
Yeah, I mean, either the boss, but then we also brought up the fact that even if she's not the boss could have a power that allows him to just like blend in or whatever. But I just mean in terms of her being on the inside now of Team Bruno as they make their journey and things happening to them that might just be related to her leaking information or something.
Honestly,
something like that.
I trust Trish. Like, I mean, it's only been a few episodes, so to trust her is kind of crazy. And from what she's shown, she's like this diva. You know what I mean? But the way I feel like maybe in the future something will happen where she bonds with the group and
that's what I'm expecting.
Betray her father. Maybe betray him. If you look at his track run, he's not a good dad from what we've seen. He doesn't even he's not the best father. So I mean, he's protecting her though. So I guess you have to kind of look at it like that. Even though he's not the best father, he's still protecting her. Yeah. But I feel she might betray him.
I kind of see it as like a setup for like a way to gauge like the Bruno group. So like she's with them. She's gonna be with them for a while, and he's sending them out on all these tasks. And Trish is only gonna actually end up using her stand once she completely trusts this group, and that gives the boss a hint that he can give him more work to do.
Yeah,
like in a way that like if Trish trusts her, the boss can maybe give them more important tasks to do or something like that. That's kind of as far as I've thought.
Yeah, I think. No, go on.
I was gonna say, like, can you see things turning like vice versa? Maybe like, let's say we bond with Trish, right? And we see that Trish really cares for her father, and the gang decides not to harm her father because of how she feels for her father, because of the relationship we've grown together. Can you see something like that happening or no?
Yeah, I mean, sounds something that might happen. Like, I mean,
personally, I don't see why she would care for her father. So
yeah.
I mean,
he didn't know until recently, and I'm assuming she didn't know either.
Yeah, I agree with you.
People that get abandoned in that fashion are usually craving attention too, right?
Yeah.
Because they never got it from their parents.
The thing is, we're having to read between the lines because this show's been unable to it's had a breakneck pace so far. It's been like constant on the move fight, which is great because I've enjoyed it. But we haven't been able to have a moment, like a quiet moment with these characters. They seem to be wanting to get us up to date with their backstories, right? And how their stands work, at least up until this break. Now I think as their journey goes on, they'll have these conversations with her, and we'll get to know a little bit more about her character. But I always get the vibe from Journo and maybe even Trish that the fact that Bruno got promoted and now he's lumbered with the exact thing he needs to get to the person he needs to get to, and Journo's got his own agenda to go through Bruno's team to get to so it's like a chain effect almost of things happening kind of fortuitous, right, for these guys. But somebody's got their own agenda, and I feel as though Journo and Trish are the ones to look out for, I think, because she's so important, so pivotal to this relationship, right?
Yeah, I kind of think of Formaggio.
Yeah.
Because I heard that like that backstory that was woven into these stories is actually anime original.
Yeah.
So it kind of, I don't know, maybe it's just me thinking too much into it, but like if the author didn't like think enough about him to like give him a backstory, it makes it somehow suspicious to me.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I appreciate that though, that backstory. It actually heightened, it improved upon what a lot of manga guys were telling me. That was amazing. Like we didn't expect that, and that was really good. Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I love how they're handling it. Like even just anime originaling these, you know, flashbacks just to make it. Because you see the thing with Fugo as well. I heard his backstory was actually a different manga. Like it was like a side manga kind of thing, and they just added it in order to emphasize on Fugo. So that was pretty awesome when I heard that. I was like, wow, really? They're doing their thing.
Yeah. I heard the same as well. I think it would be a shame to make it like a Rohan OVA side thing when you've got the budget and the length to fit it in if you can.
Yeah, they've established a pattern too, so it's nice that they're adhering to it.
Yeah.
Honestly, guys, part 5 has been amazing. There's obviously been weaker episodes, but I think so far it's been a very, very strong season.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any of the crew that you guys are like having trouble like really growing attached to?
Giorno?
Yeah.
Really?
We saw him for like 5 minutes at most in like 13 episodes.
For me, it's Abakio and Formaggio. I feel like nothing for either of them.
You didn't feel for Formaggio? Even after his...
No,
like...
I thought it was funny that he beat the shit out of someone with an encyclopedia.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. Like, I guess like him constantly being angry at everyone kind of like turns me off a little bit from like sympathizing.
You don't like those characters? I like that character. I like that in him.
Yeah. And Abakio, I don't know. I feel like at this point, like he should. I don't know. I kind of just want him to at least show that he's starting to open up a little bit. You know, like at the same time, like you know, playing a hard ass is all good, but eventually there has to be like you know what is Giorno supposed to do to like get his like attention a little more? Like he saved everyone's ass earlier. Is that not enough to at least get you to open up a little bit?
Yeah. My issue is with Abakio being this ex-cop, right? So he's still got his detective nose on, right? So he's always wary of people, right? Because he just can't get rid of that kind of paranoid like instinct that he has, right, from his old job. I feel as though he is most likely to be killed if something happened, because he'd stick his nose somewhere a little too far. I think he's the most likely to stick his nose somewhere where it might not be wanted and something could happen to him. So I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt, this whole hard cop, hard-nosed guy shouting at Giorno, because I actually prefer him to Giorno, because Giorno was given this rousing, heroic, we must help, I must jump into the frying pan to help, this kind of act that he's put on. And I feel that's what it is. It's an act, which Abakio can almost sniff out the bullshit, I think. There's going to be something, but I'm still too early to say, right? I don't know what you guys feel about that.
I mean, do you really have the luxury of making that an act when like you're in a life or death situation like that? I don't buy that.
Don't you think he's a bit forthcoming though? Like these guys,
At least initially, I think it is, but I feel like that whole like being worried in that initial circumstance with Formaggio and the mirror guy, I think that was genuine. Like his whole thing is, I think the thing is that he does want to help out, but I think he kind of still wants to keep them at arm's length, but he cares about people as just the same.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like at face value. I believe it because it's all I've got to go on, right? But I feel as though because of the genre of this season, that and backstabbing and all this kind of thing, I feel something's about to happen. Like the penny's gonna drop and something's gonna the dynamic's gonna shift dramatically, because there needs to be a reason to show Giorno more and develop him, right? And either develop him favorably with these guys and they're all best buds by the end, or maybe do something a little bit more interesting than something that Stardust Crusaders did. But it's still early, right?
The villain of the story the whole time. That's why you see him.
He is the boss.
Yeah, that'd be jokes. What about you, Ken? What are your thoughts on?
Like when Fugo, like after seeing I've seen a lot of subscribers tell me that I don't show Fugo any love. So after like, you know, his flashback and whatnot and seeing him, like I was like, you know, like I like him more. But you see, the only reason why I didn't show him love is because we didn't really have much to feed off with him. You know what I mean? The other characters, we got so much personality and whatnot. And with Fugo, we just knew he had anger problems. That's all we knew. Like he had anger problems and whatnot. And, you know, of course it had to build up and to see more of his character. And towards this last episode, just seeing how he was acting towards Giorno and the way he was like, you know, he's so smart, respecting him, I had to give respect as well. You know, it really made me happy. And I'm going with you with your thought of Abakio dying. I still have my theory of Abakio dying because of eating the 4th cheesecake. So I definitely think if anyone's going to die, my money is on Abakio. Even though I don't want him to die, my money is on him.
Yeah.
Like, he snips his nose. Like, he's someone who really needs to look for the truth. And that gets a lot of people killed. Like, if you're nosy and you're looking around too much, it's going to get you killed. And I feel like I think something will happen to a length where he's going to try to figure out. Because if you guys seen, like, the cut scene in the end of the last episode, the capo died, the one who gave us Trish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still haven't watched that, but that's fine. No, it's cool. It's cool. I didn't want to see after credits,
yeah, so I'm thinking maybe we're going to figure that information out, and Abakio is going to look into that, and that's going to get him killed, or maybe he's going to look into Polpo. Since we are connected with Polpo, then that's going to get him killed. It's something along those lines that has happened, that he's not going to trust Giorno, he's going to look into something, and he's going to get him killed. I hope that's not the case.
The one thing that he could look into is finding out that Giorno killed Polpo, because that would unravel everything, right? Like, and if he found out, and Giorno's morally ambiguous, well, he says I say he's heroic, and that annoys me about him. But I feel as though he's more morally ambiguous than he's making on to those guys, and we kind of know that to be true right from the beginning, right? So I'm not saying it's a foregone conclusion, but yeah, like Ken said, he's gonna stick his nose where he's not wanted. He's gonna find out something that Giorno's been keeping from Bruno. That trust is gonna get eroded, and Giorno's not gonna want that to happen, right? He's gonna get confronted. And maybe something will happen. Either it'll happen to Abakio from Giorno, or Giorno will allow something to happen to Abakio, like is always the case, right? In these films.
Yeah.
Don't you think it's going to come full circle instead? Now, instead of what you just said, I think it's more likely that he's going to sacrifice himself for Giorno by the end of the show.
Like in a moment of reversal.
Yeah.
Like I finally trust you, and he ends up dying for it.
Pretty much.
But what if but then I kind of think of a scenario where the one time that Giorno doesn't like fly headfirst into a dangerous situation is a situation where he knows Abakio knows something about him. I keep thinking of that scenario because it feels like these have played out in movies and TV shows we've seen like a gazillion times, and I don't want to think that it's that predictable. But I can see any number of these scenarios working out. But like you say, the role reversal could happen. Like we've seen it happen. Like. So I feel that's the only reason why I'm saying that, because it feels like I've seen these things in gangster or crime stories before, where you know just to cover things up, let's just let this guy die. Let me not rush in to save this guy. That kind of situation.
Agreed.
People don't want to think the worst of a protagonist. I think that's the issue. People don't want to think that Araki would create a protagonist that would be kind of like gray. You know what I mean? Like a very gray figure, but we've had plenty of crime stories where the MC has been lovable, but kind of
Yeah, I think the only reason why you're saying that is because he's Dio's child.
Yeah, but it's too simple to think of it that way. Oh, he's Dio's child. He must be it's too simplistic to base it on that. I just want to base it on things that you see in him and things they've built up. Like, is they really trying hard to build up Giorno as this like self-sacrificing character? Well, we know that he's been nicking money off women, right? And stealing things and all this kind of thing. So I don't know, man. Like, it's just a theory at this stage, man.
I guess I kind of have looked at it the entire opposite way this entire time, where they initially set him up as the son of Dio. So initially you think of him as like a terrible person, but they're trying to set up the whole reverse of that. Like, I just feel like if in the end he turns out to be the bad guy and he's Dio's son as well, it just isn't as interesting to me.
Yeah.
So I that's why listening to you guys theorize about Giorno, like, I trust everyone. Like, I only trust Giorno out of the entire cast.
Oh, you only trust Giorno?
Yeah, I don't trust any of the others.
But even though we haven't had much on him, like, I guess it was intense.
I just buy into the character. The other ones, it's like, okay, we're we're meeting these guys one by one. Like, if anyone's gonna turn out to be like someone that's been like some part of some large master plan, it's gonna be someone who's been in that group for a while and is like playing the long game or something. That's what I've been thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
still
just don't see Giorno doing it.
But what about like with the flashbacks? Doesn't that like give closure to an extent? Like seeing how they are loyal to Bruno because of, you know, how they were lived, or like how they were wronged by society? Or
yeah,
no?
but I guess you could see that in the same light that everyone else sees Giorno, right? Like they're showing, the anime is showing us that he's a good guy in this way, just as you're being shown that these other characters are nice to some extent.
Mm-hmm.
This would be. Sorry, go on.
Oh, I was gonna say I do agree with you. Like I feel that Giorno is shown to be like good because we all know that's Dio's son, and even with the moment with Koichi when he's like he risks his like, you know, he puts himself on the line to say, you know, like, no, Giorno's not a problem. I feel like that's what it's to show. Like, yeah, he's supposed to be Dio's son, and we all assume him to be evil, but he's going to be good. You know what I mean? He's not a bad person. I agree with you there. I definitely agree.
Yeah. Prince was asking us before, so we might as well ask, like, Greased and Ken, that where would you rank, where would you rank Giorno compared to the previous protagonists? Where would you rank them? You know, Josuke, Jotaro, Giorno. Where would you rank these guys as in terms of your favorite Joestars?
Jonathan.
Honestly, Joseph, it will always be my number one. I can't. Yeah. He's always going to be my number one. But I could see Giorno being my second and Jotaro being my third, and I could end it off with Josuke. Like that. I think that's a good list for me because Giorno is such, like, his dynamic as a character is like so incredible, and it's like, yes, these past episodes he really hasn't been getting his lines. Let's be honest, these past episodes, have we been seeing more of Giorno? It's been more about the gang. We've got an episode on Narancia, everything in Narancia. We barely saw Giorno for like a couple lines. Then in the next episode, same thing goes with Fugo. We see Giorno, but Giorno's all about, like, I believe that, you know, something's going on. You know what I mean? Like an enemy stand kind of thing.
What about you, Grease? Where would you rank them, like, in order? Like, four of them.
Yeah, I mean, part 2 is my favorite, so obviously Joseph at the top. I guess, yeah, I guess it's a little hard. The main thing is that I'd say so far I haven't seen enough of Giorno for him to be above Josuke to me.
Yeah, but you trust him, though. You said you implicitly trust him.
I do trust him. I mean, that just means I like the other protagonists so much.
Yeah.
And we saw an entire series with the others, right? And Josuke I like too, just because. I mean, I think I don't know if I like Josuke or if I like Jotaro more. That's the main thing I'm stuck on. For sure, man. I'd put him right above Jonathan.
Wait, don't put me with my list, please don't. Now I'm thinking back on my list. I'm like, Josuke was so cool. Please don't put me on my list. I don't know. I don't know.
Master made a good case. Like he went off, but Master made a good case for Josuke because he's my least favorite Joestar. Is that he was a good balance of humorous and serious. Like everyone's either been at one end of the spectrum or the other, like fully good altruistic gentleman or stoic. But Josuke is like a very well-rounded. He's jokes. He can be comedic, but he can also be serious and driven. So that was a good case for Josuke. He just never grew on me. He felt like a wet behind the ears kind of a Joestar. Like you could have not called him Joestar, and he would have been the one of the least interesting things about that show overall. I think about that part. So yeah.
Who do you like? Who's like your favorite characters in part 4 then?
Rohan, Shigechi.
Good list.
Yeah, I can't really name that many from part 4. I didn't like that many characters from part 4.
True.
You know what I think a problem could have been?
Jotaro I like from part 3. So
I feel like a problem that could have been with like Josuke is Joseph's son. You know what I mean? And it's like you kind of would have seen him like, oh, he's gonna surpass Joseph. That's what like the outlook I had in my head. Because Joseph, he's a troll. He's so funny. He's like, let's be honest. Let's look back in part 2, all his acts and whatnot. He's humorous. He's all of that. You know what I mean? So you would think like he's gonna surpass Joseph. That's how I looked at it. I was like, that's his son. He has to surpass him. Not only was his stand ability stronger than Joseph and whatnot, but as like the season came to a conclusion, I was like, I like Josuke. He's all right, but Joseph is still at the top, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't mean this to sound like just because they were butch and muscly back in the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that from that perspective, but don't you think that a lot of these MCs have lost a little bit of a presence since the past shows? Joseph stood out a lot. Jotaro is still probably the most memed Joseph, at least for now, one of the most and he's got a presence, right? Even though he had barely any lines, he was stoic, right? And even the gentleman Jonathan, right? Like where it all started, right? Do you think they've kind of lost presence? Because I felt Josuke lost presence, and now in this part, because I know we've seen barely a third of the show, right? But Jono has very little presence. He had a good first impression, but after that, like I wouldn't miss him. We were actually talking about this before with Prince, right? If they even completely sidetrack Jono to the side, I technically wouldn't mind. I honestly wouldn't miss him if they didn't have him in the show.
He's my least favorite character of this part, in all honesty.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
Character problem, right? If part 1 and part 2 had as many characters as part 3 and part 4 and even this part, those characters would not be as memorable.
Yeah, we have a lot of dense. It's very dense, even for the first 13 episodes.
How many main characters were in part 1? Like 5?
Yeah.
Part 2, there was like 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can't really go off on a tangent when you don't have very many characters.
But do you think it's interesting that when you're juggling that many characters, that for the second time since part 3, the person that's been sacrificed for the sake of the story most is the MC? Do you think that's a weird decision that's been made, especially considering people's issue with part 3 was early on was that Jotaro was a non-entity for like a long part of it.
Okay, I was gonna say like, for me, it's really, I guess it's weird for me because like you guys don't we don't hold the same opinion of Giorno.
Yeah,
I don't see it in that fashion at all. Like just those initial 7-8 episodes, I immediately grew attached to Giorno. All the way through the entire Polpo scene when he was put through that that trial. I was really rooting for him right away. So for me, all these other characters have had to prove themselves. That's why they're getting more screen time.
Yeah,
they need to fight for my attention. That's why I'm okay with it. Going into it, I was like, oh, I'm glad they're giving us more flashbacks because I want to like them half as much as I like Giorno.
Yeah, I mean, we could revisit our views because it's only a third of the way through this 39 episodes, right?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't mind revisiting my thoughts after the second third or the last third, but for now, we will have different views, right? On Journo. So me and Prince are more in agreement, and I think Ken, you really like Journo, and Grease, you really like Journo. I'm still kind of skeptical about the guy's true motives, though. Overall, I need to know more, though. I think
I'm not skeptical about his motive. We've not seen him. That's the thing. At the first few episodes, I was like, you know what? Good MC, very good MC. I can't wait to see what they do with it, going from here going forward. And after that, it was just like, wait, who's the MC again? What's his name again? I forgot.
Bruno hasn't had much screen time. He's had some a step up from Journo, but Bruno is in every
flashback, so that already gives him more screen time than Journo.
Yeah, he has a presence for sure. Yeah. But as far as dialogue and interaction between a big group of people, I feel as though Baki has had quite a lot. Nalancha has had quite a bit as well of those two. Yeah.
I feel like once this is since Fugo was the last one to fight, I feel like now it's really gonna go in depth with Giorno. Now we're gonna see going through him and whatnot, and we'll probably get more of the others, but it won't be as much as they've been doing for the beginning. Because I feel like the beginning was just a setup. Because, a lot of people told me it only starts from now on. It gets serious from now on. They were like, you thought that was something? Just wait until what you're going to see. So I feel like this was all just the setup, getting you into the characters, letting you know their personalities, their backstory, why they're connected with Bruno, their loyalty. And then now you get, you're thrown into it. Now you're going to see them like that.
I actually want to ask Prince as well this because I don't think we talked about it, but the execution squad, La Squadra guys that we were introduced to. Yeah, you know how in Hunter x Hunter we would literally cut to a whole arc with Phantom Troop, right? I keep bringing back that reference because it focuses on the characters, right? Do you think we'll focus on these guys a lot more now, especially considering that David Production like are committed to showing us some backstory about each of these characters? You think we're going to cut to completely different group of people, and this troop, right, or this squad, and you think we'll focus on those guys a lot more? Or do you think it'll just be they're going to be involved in fights with Team Bruno?
You get big pieces, I think. Honestly, like the only time they've ever done that is with Kira.
Yeah,
because they were setting him up in part 4 to be the main antagonist, and like I guess there was like some some dramatic irony of like knowing who he is, and so it worked really well in that fashion. But it's not the same in this part. So I mean, I guess we might get like, I think the extent we'll get is like ending credits or like 5 minutes at the end of the episode where we get a little bit. But I still think everything is shown through the lens of the main cast.
Yeah. What about you, Prince? You think they'll do what Hunter did and dedicate a bunch of time to these characters from their perspective? You think they'll just be in fights with?
Honestly, I don't think so. The way I think it's gonna go is similar to part 3, where like for like a minute or two of the episode, we saw them head out, and I think it was Dio, and I think it was a 13 Egyptian. I can't really remember what it was in part 3, but like we just see like the group of villains for like a minute or two, and they're like, okay, we're gonna send you out, and go and have some fun basically. But beyond that, I don't think they're gonna really get any interaction. I don't think we're gonna like spend an episode just on them. I think we've already had that with the flashback, and I think the flashback really is that's the only time we're going to see them exclusively for more than a minute, for more than just like them scheming something or whatever. But beyond that, I really can't see us spend an episode like on their adventures, if you want to say that, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, but they are interesting though. You can probably understand why I'm so interested, because just that flashback kind of made you interested in them. They could easily have their own show and you'd watch it. It would be something I'd tune into every week if it happened. And like people were saying, right, the anime original backstory wasn't even in, right, the whole flashback with that character. So I'll be interested to see how much they develop these characters and humanize them, right, even if they are the enemy.
What did you guys think about that, like the ending scene though, with Nero, I believe his name was, or being there over the
the post credit scene, after the credits rolled. I'm excited. That's one of the reasons why I'm so excited for the squad, the execution squad, because he's the lead. He looked like the leader in that flashback. Like, I don't know if he's the leader, but he looked like he had presence, right?
Yeah, he looked like the leader.
Yeah, I really want to know what his stand power is. Like Bruno has such an interesting, fascinating, like that Zipper Man thing. I want to know what this guy has on his side, like as far as like powers and stand powers go. But you can never predict stand powers. We've always been all wrong mostly about people's stand powers, unless we've had hints and clues. Like I was thinking back to MrX is predictions for the power of the boat. You remember the boat episode was happening with and you were predicting that he's the power of what? Pockets, dimensional pockets. It was I want to say
way off the mark.
Way off the mark, and you can't predict. They could. I was saying before, they could come out with any stand power that they wanted, and they could figure out the whole episode for it to make sense. And I think Araki does it like this. He fits it like bricks, like jigsaw pieces. If Narancha's got a power where he's got a fighter plane that comes out, we're gonna say that this guy next episode has this power because I want these two things to interact. So they're not informed by like the guy. I think they're informed by the stand first, and then the character second, in my opinion. But I don't know how you guys feel about that.
Yeah, you really can't predict the stands. I agree with you there. Like, there's been so many times where I said something and it's like, what the heck? That's not even close to your stand. Like, I look back at Abakio. I forgot what I thought his stand was, but it was not close to finding out that he can basically replay. Like, he's the ultimate remote. Replay, fast forward. You know what I mean? I was like, what the heck? That's a surprise.
Yeah, but the best thing I like is that the fact that they can still utilize a passive ability for offense, like an offensive ability. So like we saw in The Man in the Mirror, right? He basically disguised his power as himself, right? So it looked like it was him, and you got the drop on him. So I like how they use these powers that don't look offensive, but that you can use them in offensive ways. Yeah.
Honestly, I have a question. Out of all the stands we've seen so far, which would you prefer to have on your side? Like, which would you be interested in having for yourself?
JoJo's, man, it's so broken.
We don't even know what it is really at this point.
Yeah, like I would want, like, honestly, it's between Purple Haze and Bruno's ability. I can zip through anything. That would be awesome. Like, Bruno's ability is really good, and Purple Haze just for the. I mean, I've been told that Purple Haze isn't as overpowered as you think, since supposedly Fugo cannot be close to his own stand, or he would die himself. I didn't know that. So that's kind of.
There's a radius as well.
Yeah, that's insane.
You're gonna try to kill someone? Is that what?
Yeah, I was just about to say. I mean, that really depends on your world, isn't it? If other people have stands too, or if it's just you with stands.
So far, I'd take the shrinking one. Honestly, I'd find that useful day to day.
I'd be scared.
So you're gonna,
shrinking.
You're gonna feed people cars?
I'm not gonna kill someone with it. Be like, oh, you guys want to move houses to a different land? Here, let me shrink your house, put it in my pocket, and throw it over here. All right, done.
What if you can't control it and then accidentally grows bigger?
I could do surgery inside someone's body. Okay, I could just shrink myself, go into their mouth, just surgically,
and then you accidentally grow.
Well, wouldn't you want JoJo's power though? You could like pick up a pencil, right, and like turn it into a steak or a steak dinner or something. Like he can turn anything into anything. Yeah, like he turned a brick into a snake, so turn a pencil into a steak dinner, right, with vegetables. Like he can literally do anything. So I want his power. Man.
I couldn't eat that steak. I would think about the pencil the whole time eating that steak.
He turned the piss into a jellyfish, right? When you're drinking the So like,
oh man,
so, like he could do it. You know what I mean? So why wouldn't want his power? That's why I mean it's so broken that like just naturally I'd want JoJo's power because you know he could get himself out of like a tricky situation. But I've yet to see the weakness. Yeah.
But the thing is, are you talking about you having a stand in a world full of stands, or just you having a stand in a world without stands? Because I think that's very important in a decision. Because I think, you know, one is battle, one makes you ready for battle, ready for combat. The other one is just everyday use.
In a world filled with stands, then. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from there.
I see, yeah.
Because like if you're gonna have to battle, you need something powerful. But for everyday use, JoJo's is perfect, and Bruno as well is perfect for everyday use.
Yeah, I mean, why don't? Yeah, I mean, no one manifests a shit stand. Like, no one manifests like the lamest of the lame like stand powers. Everyone's got something cool about their stand. Like, what if some guy's stand is just like, I don't know, some useless power? You know what I mean? Like, no one's got a useless power.
You won't think of something.
Yeah, you can't. Like, I can't think of anything.
I'm trying to think of like the most useless stand that we've seen. Huh.
I would say that the boat. Oh, nah, that wasn't.
That was kind of cool though, wasn't it? Like the boat could be any. I forgot like the ability, but it could transform to any matter. Like that was the first time we've seen a stand that could do something like that. We never knew that could happen.
Yeah, it could mimic something and wrap around. Yeah. And
it was like that was the first time. Like no other stand could do something like that. So
yeah.
So I thought that was unique because of that. Huh, I'm trying to. Yeah, maybe the boat was pretty, lame. It was.
Yeah, I mean, the guy was decapitated, but he was zipped up, right? Like he was still alive. Like Bruno's power is pretty overpowered. Then you're right though. Bruno's power has so much utility as well. So in a world full of stands, Bruno, I agree with you on there. But JoJo's, if it wasn't, I think.
Yeah, because Bruno, just think about it like health-wise. Not only can you repair yourself, like if you lose a limb, just zip it right back together. Like that's amazing. And I believe he can open dimensions, and not dimensions, but open like zippers up in different locations.
Yeah. I mean, the range of his ability is amazing as well. Like,
Yeah.
not even just the close range stuff. Like the range at which he can travel like that is crazy. Yeah.
Honestly, it makes me think like I feel Bruno could beat I don't want to say that, but I feel like he could beat Lascadra. At least maybe their head boss. I'm gonna throw it out there. Like with that type of ability, I even like come on, like that. If we know who we want to kill, and Bruno can go there any way he wants, I think he can do it. I think he can do it.
Yeah, depending on what the enemy's power is as well. Like,
that's why I didn't really want to say, because he could probably have his own zipper or something way more ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe he can just like I don't know. But usually they like to mix two interesting powers to fight together, which is why I honestly feel like my theory is that he thinks of it in terms of the stands first, and then the related personalities that would hold. Yeah, afterwards, yeah.
Yeah, I think I just thought of the worst stand.
What's the worst stand?
Remember the dude in the cell phone tower?
Oh,
yeah.
Easily.
It's so situational. Like you need someone to show up at this random place.
Part 4, yeah? Yeah, I remember. Yeah. That was the part of the show that really dragged down. That was the point at which part 4 dragged. That was the Thursday arc where it was called Thursday. I forgot what it was called. Thursday the 9th or something. That arc was called. There was that guy who made origami papers, right, with your fears in it, and all sorts of shit was going on in that episode, like that arc. So, yeah.
Stupid stand. Oh god.
Wait, I forgot about that stand. Wait, what was the stand's ability?
It was called. I think it was called Superfly.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. Yeah,
like if you like left the confines of the telephone tower, you would like turn to steel or something. Once you got inside it.
Oh, the Morio, like part 4's Morio was all about oddities, right? So I kind of appreciate that. It made sense that there are like locations all over this town which are like complete oddities. So like, what was that? Angelo, he was like a rock. He's basically perpetually alive, but as a piece of rock. Like that kind of weird shit going on. So I kind of bought that, but yeah, I see what you're saying. It's a completely useless ability.
What about the sun one? With the sun, in part 3, was it like the guy who was always like he had a mirror or something like that the whole time?
Yeah, and he was making everyone laugh, wasn't he? Like everyone just started laughing, and there was a sun there. Yeah.
Oh man.
And there was that invisible baby, but that's only stupid because it was a baby.
Yeah, I don't even know what the point of that arc was with the baby. Like apparently, right at the end, what happened to that baby? There's so many loose ends at the end of part 4, man.
I don't even know.
Yeah,
it's actually good that you mentioned that, baby, because I totally forgot about that. But because we talked earlier about like what the boss could potentially have for a stand, obviously it being linked to his personality and whatnot, and him not being found. So we actually discussed maybe invisibility, but the baby already has that. So I don't think they, unless would they? No, I don't think so. If the baby grew up and is now the boss. But I don't think enough years have passed.
No, it's been like 2 years or something like that. I believe like a year or 2 since part 4. Yeah, so I don't think it's possible.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like
still so young.
I feel the boss would have a stealth sort of power. I'd want to think if we're looking at personalities reflected in your stands, right? So Fugo was anger, like a bundle of anger, right? And his stand is like that. So. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like the boss, like maybe he doesn't have any like ability like that, but maybe he has just like his personality. He's just a person with many faces. Like I know I'm bringing this up because I just finished Gintama, the spider arc, and it's like this like maybe he's just incognito like all the time, or he's just in plain sight, and it's like to a point where like his stand is strong and really powerful, and it has nothing to do with him being in the shadows. Or maybe it's a shadow stand. Maybe it's shadows or something. But maybe it has nothing to do with him being in the shadows, but he's just in plain sight, and we just don't know it kind of thing.
What if there isn't a boss and there's like a group at the top of the organization that uses it as an entity to like dish out orders?
Yeah, I thought about that before. I don't see how nobody has seen the boss before. but he's still the boss. That to me, that makes no sense because he's got to give orders to someone, and that's got to be someone that he trusts. But then that would also mean that that person that he trusts is somehow related to him. And like, if you know who that person is that he trusts, then you can, and you know that there is some sort of trust between him and the person, the boss, and the person giving out the orders in his stead. Yeah, look at Trish. How much they're after Trish? I'm sure they would have gone after that one person too.
Yeah.
All I know is from what people have said. Like one or two people I spoke to, like who read the manga, is that they really like the villain of this part. That's all I know. Like he's really interesting. Like and I like that got me excited. So it's actually interesting to debate like what it could be that for this part, particularly with this many stand powers and complex, what would constitute an amazing villain in a personality. And I don't know, man, maybe some British dude, some posh talking British dude drinking tea or some shit. Like it could be some weird thing, man.
You're right, girl.
Yeah. exactly.
What if the boss is an animal, you know?
Oh.
You know what? That would be interesting. An animal, like a talking pig.
What happened to that ape? That great
ape. The captain, yeah. Dressed as a captain. And he's perving in the showers, right? Women's showers and shit.
Oh, that pervert ape.
Weirdest thing, man. We've had we have had a dog, we had a falcon, we had a orangutan have a stand. It would be jokes if it's some little dog or something. Like those tiny dogs, and is like got some crazy stand power.
Like his stand is like the ability to talk.
Yeah. Some smart talking animal.
Yeah. Like a
I've seen that in other shows before.
Humans, right? And he can talk.
Yeah. He's got the gift of the gab, right? Like that's his stand power. Silver tongue, man.
A cat, 9 lives. There you go.
9 lives. Yeah. A cat.
Immortal jellyfish or something.
Yeah, immortal jellyfish.
The jellyfish the jellyfish that Jonah turned.
Yeah, but you know what? Even jokes aside, I think animal stands is actually an interesting thing, considering how many people have been arrowed in this series. Like to think that a stray animal would get arrowed and it just manifests like a stupidly powerful ability. Because wasn't that the whole premise of part? The plan was to manifest a power. Like Okuyasu and his brother wanted someone to manifest a power that would heal their dad. Wasn't that the whole point? Or their objective was to find someone who could turn their dad's transformation back, because he apparently was one of the guys that had the Dio's seeds in him, and then when Dio got annihilated, he got transformed into Shrek, like this toxic Shrek or whatever it is. So they wanted to find someone. So I feel as though like even a creature could manifest a power which is like stupidly overpowerful. Like, I think.
Bringing up Okuyasu's father, do you think Jorno could somehow help him to an extent? Like, I mean, I know it won't happen, but like, just thinking how he relied on Dio. Do you think like Jorno having Dio's blood could kind of do something? Or,
I think so.
Yeah, right. I think so as well.
Yeah, I mean, like he could do it. He could change his like visage, right? I guess like into a face he wanted, like make him look like some hunk or some shit. I don't know, with his power, change the cells in his face. If he can turn a brick into a snake, he can change someone's like face. You know.
That was jokes.
Yeah, Josuke's was different. He's like reconstructive surgery, right? He could like mash you up and then have you stuck in that like
whatever position he puts.
Yeah, position. Shit.
Yeah, it was crazy.
You know what? The ultimate prediction right now. Do you think the boss is Dio?
Nah.
Nah. Could you imagine? I'm your father. No, I don't want to.
You're seeing all over again.
You think they would pull that off? Like Star Wars reference, like big one. I'm your
like his stand is the Death Star or something.
I mean, I feel like if it was Dio, Jordan would know, because that odd picture that he has of Dio in his wallet, I don't know how he got that picture, who he called for it, but like he would be like, "Oh, Dad," you know, like you'll see him kind of thing.
Yeah, but do you think Dio coming back is the strangest thing that could happen in the show like this? They make it happen. Araki could write literally anything, and Dio would be back.
And it wouldn't be a problem. You know, the thing I love about JoJo for that is like the fact that if Araki did decide to bring Dio back any part from now, it wouldn't even be strange because it's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Like we're so used to like the bizarre things. Just like the fact that Cars is still up in space, and who knows? Araki could do whatever he wants with him, bring him back if he wanted to, because it's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
The boss is Cars.
And MastaCell brought it up that like he was telling everyone that part 1 to 6 is in the same continuity, right? So part 1 to 6 is very much still following off from the previous parts and the kind of breadcrumbs that were left, right? So anything's possible, man, in a show like this. That's probably the reason we watch it, right? Because any ridiculous, crazy, bonkers shit could like happen in this show, and we'd be cool with it because it's just so like interesting to watch. So,
well, JoJo is the story of JoJo and Dio. So if you're looking at it from that aspect, you could say, well, we've already got Dio now. We needed JoJo as the villain.
Yeah, you think Jonathan could come back somehow? Jonathan, gentleman, Jonathan.
I mean, but Dio, I think if anything, like Jonathan's head would just come back because it's like Dio has the body or whatnot. Imagine the head.
Yeah, like just a British gentleman's voice plays, and you're like, "Fuck, I recognize that voice." It's just freaking Jonathan. He's such a weird character, but to bring him back will be jokes, I think. Like, but yeah, we'll see, man. Like anything could happen. We were saying like I expect like 6 or 7 twists in this season, as it is still to come. Like I'm kind of expecting it almost because this season's been kind of crazy even from the first third of it.
Yeah, really. And I still, you know, like just the thoughts on the boss and whatnot, and the fact that we're not even close is insane.
Yeah,
like we're not close to figuring anything out. We're not even like we're literally just getting there.
Yeah,
after the last episode.
You think I can't 2 phases of the series. Like, do you think they're gonna end with the boss reveal and like have like the last 10 episodes be just like dealing with that, or do you think it's gonna be like you know in part 4 we had like leading up to finding out who the villain is, and then the second half was like him in the open almost?
Yeah, or like part 3 where it's like basically his lair, right? Dio's lair and fight. I think so. If they're trying to emulate part 3, we might just see like a whole arc dedicated to the villain. I think. I hope so, because nothing's come close to those last 6-7 episodes of part 3. Like those were the highlight of my entire time watching.
Yeah, those episodes.
JoJo. Yeah, really good. Vanilla Ice, Mickey. Yeah.
I hate Vanilla Ice. Ever since that day, I stopped listening to Vanilla Ice. I know Vanilla Ice plays in this household. Ever since that.
Yeah. Even his fight with the Falcon with the ice, who could like freeze everything in the sewers, like was crazy. The dog, right? Like everything from that point onwards, where you're approaching Dio's lair, you're like, where the fuck is Dio? Where is he sitting? What's he doing? Why is he sending everyone after us? Is he weak? Is he some weak? And then you go there and you're like, fuck, we got 3-4 more episodes of him. I hope that's the case with this part. Like, it's something to look forward to. Some mega like fight at the end or something.
I don't know if this happens with you guys for all animes, but like, I mean, it happens to me for a few that I really enjoy. And like, the one thing is like me just thinking of what's gonna happen in the future, like not having a possibility or knowing what could possibly happen. It hypes me up so much. Like at times it makes me even think like I want to read the manga because I want to know like what happens like so desperately. Like these weeks, it seems like the episodes get shorter every single week. Like I put on the episode and right away it's the cutscene. Like for halfway, I'm like, what the heck? Come on, man! Don't end it like this. And they just end it.
Yeah. Do you remember when we never thought that part 5 was gonna come? Like we kept waiting for the announcement, but it never came. And we were all debating read the manga. At least I like to say I was debating it almost in my head to read the manga. I'm glad I never read the manga, man, because like look how great the season's been so far, and even the anime original stuff has kind of given us more than what we would have maybe even got in the manga. So I'm glad we held off and we're watching the anime. But I understand your pain, man. Like trying to not read the manga because you really want to desperately know what is the answer to this and that. So
honestly, I'm very patient, so I don't have that issue.
Yeah.
I never even thought of it.
I'm sure people were pushing you.
You guys are lucky.
Yeah.
Every week I end the video. I'm there like shit. I need to know.
well, to be fair, I've been behind for like the last 5 episodes. I've binged like episode 9 to 13 today, so I don't have to wait that long.
That must have been awesome, though, right? Binging this show at season is something I wish I had the luxury to do, like I did part 3, because this show feels like you need to binge it, because those deadly cliffhangers every week is just gonna be too much, man. Like,
mission accomplished by the studio, then.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the pacing so far. It's been good, man. Like, it may have been something I complained about in the first half of part 3, but after finishing part 3, I just can't like complain that the pacing has been so tight. Like this season, we've had like 4, 5, 6 fights so far. So
every episode's been exciting this season, so that's nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's been the most consistent season we've had so far. And I don't want to say best, but consistent, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, you're right though. It's consistent as the word I'd use for it. It's never had a lull in the action, and even when it gave us something, right? Like a backstory or something. Yeah.
Well, when you're thinking about it, like, you can't really compare what this is to the entire series before it, right? You got to think of, were you like, I don't know if I was ever tired of any of the seasons besides like the first one in the first 13 episodes, I wouldn't say.
Mm.
I think the pacing is really good in the beginning of almost every season.
Yeah.
Part 2, in my opinion, not the first episode, but like the second, third, and I think after that the 4th and maybe the 5th episode were, in my opinion, the weakest of part 2. Part 1, it's the beginning itself. Part 3, there was certainly a lull. I felt halfway through, and part 4 towards the end-ish.
Yeah.
So that's for me personally.
The character count's also gone up. The first season had 2 characters, two arguably 3. And then this part 2 had like 4 or 5 prominent characters. Part 3 had like quite a few of them, and then this part's got even more characters. I feel as though it becomes harder the more characters you juggle. But considering how many characters they managed to juggle now, like as time has gone on, it's like I'm not complaining. It's difficult to carry that many characters. I mean, look at like Infinity War, right? It still managed to be a good movie, even though it's just juggling a bunch of fights and set pieces. So I feel like that way about these later parts where they do their best, right, to juggle as much as they can. But they're more prominent in the previous parts because there's so few characters. You know what I mean? We only had Joseph. Like literally for the first couple of parts, we had Dio and we had Joseph that we gave a shit about. And now we've got somebody. And the dog, yeah, and the dog. I didn't like Iggy in the beginning. He grew on me though. As he warmed up to the characters.
Yeah, Iggy was a bit annoying. Like Iggy, just give me a hug. Be a dog. Man,
yeah.
You know, like it. And then once Iggy started. The one thing that sucked, because once Iggy started getting, like, you started caring for him, it was, like, right when they killed him all.
Yeah, exactly that. The sacrifice he made to fight that Dio's, like, Falcon, right? And he gave a shit, you know what I mean? Like, he was worried for everyone, and he became a Stardust Crusader in that episode. But then he died the very same arc, man. Like,
honestly, I've seen this one comment, and someone said, like, Iggy's death is the saddest, because it's like, Iggy didn't even want to be part of these guys. Iggy was just minding his business, doing what dogs do. I mean, he had all these dogs under him, so I don't think that's what dogs do. Like, he was like a dog king or something like that. But would you guys say that was the only time you ever cried in watching JoJo? When in Iggy's thing? Or were there other sad parts for you? Caesar was definitely sad. You didn't.
Grease is a sociopath, man.
The poor dog, man.
No.
I'm sorry about, bro. I'm with Grease there. I don't what?
I've been holding myself back. I was like, wow, I'm being shocked by how much people love this dog. I was like, wait, I just really just Googled. Am I remembering the wrong dog?
Yeah. I think that was the only time.
I don't think I've
What
ever,
about
ever
Caesar?
gotten close in JoJo's to crying. And I've cried so often.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I
JoJo's
mean,
not really sad. Like, even the sad scenes are not really sad.
Yeah.
They're not sad to the point of tears or anything like that. Just, meh, okay, that sucks. Damn.
Yeah. The
And
show's
then
more
you're like, okay,
fun.
let's
Yeah.
be hype.
Yeah.
I cried a lot.
I did. I cried in that Iggy thing, man. I think I remember. Yeah. But that was the only time. I kind of got like, JoJo's just fun. It's never been like depressing or ultra serious. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I might have cried if he didn't annoy me for 40 episodes.
I think it was precisely because he annoyed me for 40 episodes that I was just warming up to him, and it was like, bam, they took you away. Like,
I was like, no, man, I don't forget your past.
That's jokes, man.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, Caesar, you could have the argument for Caesar.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Caesar was emotional.
it was, yeah.
But to me, I was more like, okay, let's go.
Yeah, that was more like a bummer to me than like super sad.
Yeah, it was a bummer for me. I don't think I was like crying or anything, but he was a really great character, though.
Speedwagon.
Oh man,
Yeah,
Zeppeli, man, as well.
Zep.
Yeah.
didn't you?
Shit, that was more badass. That was like a more heroic last stand type of thing rather than like emotional.
Yeah, like he was like, I'm about to let you guys do what you have to do. Let me handle this.
Yeah.
You know, this reminds me of part 4 with Shigechi.
Shigechi, man. I cried at that.
He was
Yeah.
heartless for that part too. I hated it.
You were heartless. You hated it.
You hated Shigechi? Yo.
Bro, go back to my reactions.
Yeah. I
They actually killed him. I'm surprised. That was my reaction.
I do remember having a conversation with Greased about Shigechi. I think I might have even commented on one of those reactions about Shigechi, right?
People liked him.
Yeah, like
God.
No.
yeah, I was upset there, man.
Yeah, I remember fighting over that.
There's a few things. Shigechi was an adorable kid. He was a kid. I feel like because I mean he's a kid, you know. Of course he's gonna act the way he did. It's normal, you know what I mean. Like I looked at it as, yeah, people could say he's annoying, but he was just like a kid, and like the way he died, oh my, like he took it overboard. You could have killed him like differently.
It was a mercy killing. Mercy killing.
It was like a tortured. He was tortured before he was killed. Right? It
Blew up.
And then his stand, like the way it went to Josuke and gave them like, and then he just disappeared. You just see Shigechi like screaming in the sky. No! I was like, what the heck? They just did him like. I was like, no way.
I'd rather blow up than let a car from the inside splice me into it.
I don't know, man. Like you could still be alive after like in pain and shit. Like at least explosion will like do the deed, man. Like
yeah, obliterated into nothingness.
They can't even bury him. Oh my gosh, that really hit.
He basically got cremated on the spot. You know, that might be good.
Oh no.
But do you know when they showed his soul fly off, like sand, like Joseph's soul flew off? He was in pain, like he was like he's going to hell or some shit. Like Shigechi was, like legit, like he was in pain as he died. Like, I think that scene was more horrifying to me. If you go back and watch the episode, I was like legit horrified when Shigechi's like sand spirit was flying off and he was like in pain. Like,
yeah,
that was messed up, man. Which is ironic that you know the way that Kira died was so mundane. It was so like HBO, like some mundane death. You know what I mean? You never think it's the death that this guy deserves.
Fit perfectly.
I remember when it happened, I was like, damn, he's really gonna live. Then I just think, nope, boom, your face is I was like, what the heck? I was even shocked. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna get away with it. He was like, yes, now I'm gonna use my ability. Then boom, I was like, oh, he's done.
Yeah, he's done, man. That was good. I like that, but everything leading up to it, where he was just on the run, was like for me, like it wasn't fitting for me to see him like that.
JoJo loves the cars and the vans. I think every part except the first part has had a car or a van having
Yeah, a
important.
truck.
Yeah.
The
Part
first
3
part had a
we had
wagon.
Dio with the roller.
Yeah, steamroller. That was awesome. Do you think we'll get something as ridiculous as that again in a JoJo? Someone just flying out of nowhere with a lorry in his hand.
Bro, I was waiting for that shit.
Yeah.
I'd heard all about that. I was like, that doesn't even make sense. And then when it happened, I was like, what? Bro, I replayed that scene like 10 times with my sister. I watched part 3 with my sister. It was really fun. That's the only anime she's ever watched with me.
Oh wow, that's a good experience though. Like for anime.
Bro, she wanted that dog to die 100 times over.
Oh shit.
We celebrated together. So.
Oh,
that was Animal Crew. Do you remember people up in arms, right? Peter.
Were they? Bro,
Yeah, Peter.
Iggy bit off that hawk's beak. That's Animal Crew.
Yeah, but that
animal and animal action.
Yeah. Shit, man. Do you think like he got a lot of controversy? People were telling me after that Iggy thing. So he's never kind of come close to doing something as controversial as that. Like I remember, like even the baboon perving on that underage girl, that little Mexican girl, right? In part 3 was pretty damn controversial for that part, in my opinion. And then we got the Iggy like getting just kicked in a corner somewhere, like was pretty controversial. Now I don't think we've ever had anything too controversial like since those parts.
I mean, my opinion. I don't feel that Araki would do that. I don't know. I don't feel like he would, by what people say or whatnot, like he would stop his style of work. Because like the way JoJo is, like it's the way it is because of him. I don't think that's like. Maybe he just didn't get the chance. He's like, should I put in a bird? Or like, or he just doesn't have the chance to do it yet.
Yeah.
Like look at the snake. What we did to the snake.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't like he does what's best for what comes off the page, right? He's not like, oh, I have to explain this and that will ruin the story. He doesn't want to ruin the story by over explanations and stuff. So I like that. There's some mangakas like to really over explain or leave seeds, like too many seeds, and then they never really wrap them up later on. I think for him, that size, the size of each part is good enough that he can just make a good story, good action.
Yeah, and it's good that most of it's like fairly self-contained, so you can like hit a reset button.
Yeah. But there are people that have been going around skipping parts to get to this part. Apparently, whenever they hear the hype about a part, like wasn't it Mother's Basement or something? I was telling people, you can skip part 1 and 2 and just skip to second half of part 3, 4. And yes, like there's a thing. It's a thing like in each season now where we've been watching JoJo for forever, like, and someone always comes along and says skip Gintama parts or skip friggin' JoJo parts and skip to this latest season. And I can see that maybe if you wanted to, you could skip, but I wouldn't recommend it, man. But people are doing it, man.
It takes away from the whole experience. I don't see like the whole reason why everything is the way it is from part 1 to part 4 is to show you the bloodline of this family.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
For you to skip from like, watch half of part 3, then go to part 4, then part 5, or watch part 4, then part 5. It makes no sense because then it's like, not only are you losing great scenes that have can be brought back in like as references, but like you're losing the whole experience, the characters, the emotions that those parts have given you. You know what I mean? It really downgrades the whole experience. You never enjoy JoJo.
Exactly. You never realize its distinctive and unique features, right? Like each protagonist is a relative of the previous one. You miss out on that whole journey, right? Of how unique each part is and how different each part is and the references and you know what I mean? You just be coming into any show, basically any shonen almost. If you just entered this part, you wouldn't realize how unique it is being from
And it's funny that you brought that because I actually have a friend who recently got into JoJo, and he's watching part 5, but he knows nothing about part 1, part 2, part 3, or part 4. So when he meets Jordan, he's like, Dio, who's Dio? I'm like, watch part 1 and you'll find out. You know what I mean? Like, how do you go to part 5 and ask questions?
Did he consult you before he started the show? Like, why did he skip?
he recently consulted with me, and I told him, no, stop watching it and go all the way back, watch it from the beginning. And he's currently watching it all from the beginning right now. So probably by the time he catches up, part 5 will be so far ahead where he can binge watch it.
Yeah, you know, like people have this obsession lately, like they want to be part of the conversation, so they will skip parts just so they can like speak authoritatively on these parts, and that's like a mentality in the community where you got to be on the latest thing, and sometimes sacrifices got to be made. So I'm gonna skip this arc and that arc, and all that stuff was happening with Gintama, right? Like you're still going through the comedy arcs, you're still going through stuff, right, Ken? Like when I see you drop your reactions. So, but there are people out there that just like, man, let's skip ahead. Shogun got popular. These later arcs got popular. Let's just jump on board without any context or any sort of thing, man. And I've been noticing that been happening a lot lately with shows and stuff. So
yeah, I go for the experience, honestly, because like with Gintama, I'm so used with the character, and the same goes with JoJo. Like every little thing I see that's done in the series, I know because this is the mangaka style. I know this is what he does, what he has intended. You know what I mean? Like what he intends to do, and I feel like that really creates a better bond with the viewer and the series as a whole. Like this skipping is ridiculous. Just to be in conversation that you won't be justified to talk about because you don't have the knowledge prior to it.
Yeah. What about you, Greece? Do you feel that as well? Like a lot of this, there's a lot of the tendency now to skip things or encourage people to skip things, skip parts and stuff. I couldn't imagine watching this part like as itself. But even though you made the case that it's very self-contained, I just couldn't imagine not watching those parts, even part 1 again or something.
Yeah, I guess the thing is, I've asked people to watch JoJo in the past, and usually people fall off within 1 or 2 episodes.
They do, yeah.
So the issue is that I feel like I do think you can watch part 5 on its own, because if you think about it, aside from like you know, in the very beginning we have like Dio mention, and we get callbacks to like part 4 with Jotaro and, you know, like Koichi showing up. Aside from that, nothing really. Aside from like they explain, don't they explain stands a little bit?
Not like briefly. But you don't know about, like, I mean, you do know about the arrows, but you don't know about the origins of the arrows as well. So you wouldn't know that it came from part 3 or like how it came about and the ability of the arrow.
Oh, sure. I mean, that's the thing. That's an added layer of enjoyment that I definitely agree that we would enjoy the series a little more. But if you think about it, Giorno knows just as much as us, as like a new viewer would, about stands. So they do explain it in the sense that the main character doesn't know too much. So the thing with me is, like, you know, enjoy it however you want, right? For me, if someone will ask me, like, oh, I couldn't really watch part 1 at all, but this part 5 looks really, really cool, and then I'll be like, you know, no, finish part 1. They're like, no, I really didn't enjoy that. And then I'm like, okay, I would say, you know, like, watch part 5. If you really enjoyed what you liked, you should watch up to it, and you'd enjoy it even more, right? That would be my way of, like, you know, like, it could be a good gateway, you know, like, it's like, this is more like junk food at this point, you know what I mean? Whereas you have to like eat your freaking vegetables in the beginning and get through part 1. At least that's how I view it. But I think it's fine. It's just not the ideal way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't shame people for wanting their time not wasted. So if it's best for you to just jump into that part, fair enough. It's just entertainment at the end of the day. It's just the people peddling the whole, you just skip these parts, and, you know, I wouldn't want that spread, like that perpetuated, that narrative that you could very easily skip things. So it gives people the wrong impression that, you know, you can skip it.
If people aren't going to start from the beginning, I'd say the best place to start is part 3.
Yeah, I mean, that's where everyone jumps on board.
Part 3 or even part 2. I feel like part 2 is fast enough.
I would recommend, if anyone is going to start from part 2, part 3, and then, you know, if you decide, okay, I want to know more about Dio, Jonathan, what happened between them, then go watch part 1 with a different outlook at it, like comparing it to the future parts.
Yeah, I mean, part 1 and part 3 are so linked. 2 feels like it's its own thing, right? The stone masks and Kaz, Wabu, and those characters. It feels self-contained because the masks don't really have much effect on the lore, apart from the fact that Dio's a vampire because of them, right? So but even though it's one of the better parts, it's really hard to get is to justify. I would justify at the most skipping 2, but I wouldn't want to say 2 because 2 is literally one of the first best parts of this show. So it's always difficult, man. That's the only reason I'd say, look, just watch all of them.
Yo,
if it's being different.
What if the boss turns out to be a Hamon user? That'd be
oh man.
I want a callback. I want someone to use that.
Same.
But Hamon is like, if you have Hamon, you have a stand, right? Isn't it kind of like that to an extent? Like, if you can use Hamon, you can use stands.
Did Joseph have a stand?
Joseph, yeah, he had the vines. Remember the purple vines? I forgot
Joseph,
purple. What I forgot what it was called. Purple.
Yeah, but was it like he called it a stand, didn't he? Like, or am I getting wrong? Because we never saw his like it was vines, yeah, but
Hermit Purple
forecast and stuff.
Hermit Purple.
Hermit Purple.
Yeah.
Hermit Purple. Yeah. Yeah. That was always a gray area for me, man. Like Joseph.
Separate.
I mean, the thing with Hermit Purple for me, I wanted Joseph to have something a little bit cooler. Like, come on, Vine. I mean, of course, he did badass things with it in the anime. Like, when he used it to track, I believe, to track someone. He used it one time to track someone, like, through a TV kind of thing, connected it with, like, sand. Something like that. It was something really crazy and bizarre. As far as stands go, it's weird that Joseph didn't really have that. It wasn't powerful. Yeah, it was useful, and he did lots of cool things with it. But compare him to the stands we've seen later on, right? It's pretty like weak when you think about it. Like, which is ironic for Joe Star to have it. Consider Josuke's stand, Jono's stand, the kind of powers that Jonathan like showed, like he was able to take down or at least double KO kind of thing with Dio. It's weird that Joseph had such a mundane stand, right? You know, I was kind of thinking, do you think maybe it's because since Araki was just getting into stands, because of like part 3 and whatnot, Joseph only had that type of stand because of that, and like this maybe like in the future, like let's say if Araki were to rewrite part 3, he would give Joseph a different stand. Do you think that could be the case? Like more like, he's just getting into stands, so he wasn't really sure what he wanted to do with it. Because if you do look at the stands compared like to part 3, they're nothing compared to part 4 or part 5 stands. We can say that hands down, right? Yeah,
I mean, Hermit Purple, the thorns don't say anything about Joseph as a character. He's humorous. He's a cheeky, humorous player type character. I don't know what these thorns, the Hermit Purple, Hermit maybe the hermit in the name, right? Kind of might be leading to his lifestyle or whatever. But I would say I agree. I think he'd reconsider the stand for him. I'd say if he went back to it now, like.
But I don't know. I feel like maybe he might give him a different stand, but isn't the whole point of him giving something like that to make him like give him something suitable as a support role? He's an old man at that point. Like, I don't think he would give him something a badass. His whole role was to be like a sidekick at that point and be like someone who's been through it all.
Yeah, like a mascot character of the show.
So you can't give him something powerful. You could give him a different support ability. But I also don't think at that point they'd nailed that whole like stand to personality gimmick, right?
Yeah.
More like the person kind of changed with whatever stand they got.
And his daughter, what happened to his daughter as well? I'm always thinking back to Holly. Yeah, she was like infected with vines were growing around her as well, and she just got like knocked out. Like when Dio came back,
right? It was because of Dio hadn't been taken down.
I mean, because she's of his bloodline, that happened. Do you think it happened to all his other kids as well, like Josuke? Like at the same time, she wasn't the only child that he had, right? So this is why I wish he'd gone back and fleshed it.
Children.
Yeah. We were joking in the early episodes. He might have a Hispanic kid somewhere, Chinese kid somewhere, Russian kid somewhere.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Joseph the G.
You think we should wrap up now? Like Prince, you there? I I don't have the ability to cut the feed because he's giving it. So we gotta ramble a bit before we end it.
Prince has unfortunately left the game.
Yeah. You wanna wrap up? Is there anything else you want to mention?
I mean, if that's it, if we've said everything, then we could wrap it up if everyone's happy with that.
Yeah, I'm happy. I think we covered pretty much everything. We even reminisced.
Streaming for 3 hours and over 3 episodes. That's crazy.
Yeah, I was joking when I said this stream would be 4 hours because we had to cover like 5 episodes, but we're close to it, man. Yeah. But it's good to get Master on. That was the first time he came on, Ken, which is good. Yeah.
I wish I could have been there. Oh man.
Yeah,
it's actually quite funny. The second that he left, that you two came on, so it's kind of perfect timing in a way.
Yeah, but we got a lot of people on today, which is good. I think the most amount of people today was the one we got on.
Yeah, I think it's a good amount of people. It's easy to talk with less people.
Yeah.
I wrap up.
The Prince, your host. We forget that Prince was hosting it this week, so he's the host.
He just.
Are you there, Prince?
Well, in that case, ladies and gentlemen, I think that about wraps it up. That was a JoJo podcast of the 5th, well, technically the 4th, depending on your time zone, really. So 4th of January, 5th of January, depending on, obviously, as I said, your time zone. Thank you, everyone, for being on here. Please, where can they find you all? And have a nice day. Where can they find you all?
You can find me at youtube.com/Mackenzie Critiques. And yeah, that's it.
Grease Lightning Reactions here. Yeah, just you can just search that. It's fine.
KenSenpai, thank you for having me. Very grateful.
I also just want to give a shout out to MastaCell, who's obviously not here anymore. I thank everyone who has been here in the chat. I know Miscellaneous P has been here from quite early on, and it's been quite a long stream. So thank you very much for those guys who have watched this or will be watching this. And until next time, everyone, peace out and have a nice day.